More and more transmission arrays appeared. The news spread very quickly in this huge new world. Chen Xiang's bounty was as he had wished. It had already increased to 10 billion spar, suddenly increasing by 10 times. This caused many people to move. One after another they went to Chen Martial Continent to look for Chen Xiang. This was also the reason why Heaven Door City was so lively. More and more transmission arrays appeared. The news spread very quickly in this huge new world. Chen Xiang's bounty was as he had wished. It had already increased to 10 billion spar, suddenly increasing by 10 times. This caused many people to move. One after another they went to Chen Martial Continent to look for Chen Xiang. This was also the reason why Heaven Door City was so lively. However, the people that the entire new world was looking for were actually searching for treasures in the profound realm. When many large powers were worried about the Dongfang family's invasion, Chen Xiang, this little rascal, had already infiltrated into the interior of the strongest power in the new world. There were a lot of patrol teams, so it was normal to suddenly lose a squad. Most of them were resting, and the Dongfang family's power was growing with each passing day. Everyone dared to act recklessly, so the patrol teams were usually responsible for catching some servants running around. Where is the important place? This Dongfang Rong's memories are unreliable. Chen Xiang's heaven tour method could not be found, and so could Long Shui. Chen Xiang was currently in that small courtyard, and his heaven tour method had already searched throughout the entire Warm Moon Palace. That pond is very deep, Long Shui suddenly said. Chen Xiang immediately walked to the side of the pond. Dongfang Rong's memories said that the Warm Moon's palace was one of the most important places in the Eastern Profound Realm. He didn't know the specifics. Chen Xiang looked at the calm lake. Long Shui's heaven tour method was even more powerful than Chen Xiang's, so he quickly dove into the pond. There is a formation at the bottom of roughly 100 zhang. My spiritual sense is unable to enter, Long Shui said. Little naughty dragon, let the wind go. I will try using the Luotian gate. Chen Xiang took out his Luotian gate. Although the Warm Moon Palace was not small, there was only Chen Xiang inside. Dongfang Xinyue usually liked living a quiet life, and would only occasionally call a servant in to inquire about some things. Dongfang Rong had been called a few times over the years, so Dongfang Xinyue was very familiar with him. After Long Shui gave him a direction, Chen Xiang turned the ring on top of the Luotian gate, opened a dimensional door, and walked in. After entering the spatial gate, Chen Xiang suddenly appeared in a place that was filled with a scorching aura. With the flash, +ing of red light and the scorching heat in the clouds, if a normal person came here, they would have long been burnt to ashes. Amazing, it seems like it's hotter than the Earth's core. What kind of place is this? Chen Xiang was in a tunnel now, and a red glow was +ning in from the end of the tunnel. The source of the scorching energy was the end of the tunnel. If even Chen Xiang had been to this place, it would already be an extremely terrifying place to him. He suddenly understood why this matter was so important. If he did not seal it, the hot air that came out would be more than enough to destroy the entire profound realm. What exactly is this profound realm? There was actually such a powerful place. This was what Chen Xiang and the others were wondering. It's a very intimate feeling. As Chen Xiang walked along the passageway, although he felt the heat, he did not feel uncomfortable at all. It was extremely strange. After walking out of the passageway and arriving in AC filled with flames, he was shocked. What is this? In the midst of the boundless sea of fire, he could vaguely see a colossal creature crouching on the ground, and its flames were being emitted by this colossus. The dead vermilion bird, these are her bones. Long Shui's voice was filled with shock. I never thought that the vermilion bird would actually die in such a place. Her feathers must have been refined into Suzaku silk. That huge monster was indeed a skeleton. It actually existed in the depths of the Eastern Profound Realm. Is there any way to get it? Chen Xiang was ecstatic and almost jumped up. As he walked in the sea of fire, he did not feel any discomfort. This sort of flame could not harm him at all. There's a bone soul in this skeleton. As long as we pacify it, the flames will disappear. Long Shui said. The Eastern Profound Realm was very big, and the vermilion bird's bones were actually around the same size as this profound realm. Chen Xiang and Long Shui spent a lot of effort to find the skull. You can't keep this bone soul. If you keep it, don't tell me you want to refine the Suzaku divine weapon anew. This is the best material, Long Shui said. Chen Xiang nodded. He placed his hand on top of the skull, sensing the bone soul in the bone, instilling some thought, calming the bone soul down. This guy actually wants to attack me. Chen Xiang suddenly retracted his hand, his face filled with anger. Heaven Fire Soul, go! Chen Xiang's body started to burn. The flames he released actually blew away the surrounding flames, and then, he smashed his palm onto the mountainous vermilion bird's skull. With a palm strike, the Heaven Fire Soul released a heaven fire full of power. The bone soul that wanted to attack him immediately weakened a bit, and the raging fire on the skull also started to die down. Comparing fire with me? Chen Xiang suddenly felt the resistance of the bone soul, and immediately took out 2 Chaos Fire S. He activated the 2 Chaos Fire S and released the silver-white flames, causing the flames around them to return back into the bones. Chen Xiang never thought that the deterring power of Chaos Fire would be this strong. In just a moment, that gigantic skeleton that looked like a red crystal appeared in front of him. Mine! Chen Xiang laughed and dripped a drop of blood onto the blood, restraining the bone soul inside. Then, with a thought, he stored it in his green jade ring. Putting such a large thing into his storage ring had nearly drained Chen Xiang of his spiritual sense. After he succeeded, Chen Xiang rested for a bit before taking out the Luotian gate. He said through the spatial gate and arrived at the forest outside of Sky Emperor City. Without the vermilion bird bones as nourishment, the Eastern Profound Realm will probably lose its spirit energy very soon. Long Shui chuckled. Not long after Chen Xiang left, all the rankers in Eastern Profound Realm suddenly trembled, because the density of the spirit energy had suddenly decreased. Although it had only weakened a little, it made many rankers feel that something serious had happened, because this was something that had not happened in Eastern Profound Realm for many years. He continued to stay in Sky Emperor City. He wanted to see if he could find any good spirit medicines here. Since Sky Emperor City was a very prosperous city, Chen Xiang felt that he would be able to obtain quite a bit of harvest here. Just as he stepped into a very large pill shop, he suddenly heard someone shout, "Chen Xiang has appeared." Chen Xiang was shocked. He had now become a normal-looking middle-aged man. How could he possibly be discovered? Chen Xiang has appeared on top of the Dragon Tower in the north of the city and is fighting with the eldest son of the Dongfang family patriarch. Chen Xiang's mouth twitched. He never thought that there would actually be such an idiot that dared to pretend to be him and flaunt around, ruining his reputation. Someone who had a bounty of 10 billion spar actually dared to come to Dongfang clan's territory. It was either this person was crazy, or this person had the ability to come and go as he pleased. Someone who had a bounty of 10 billion spar actually dared to come to Dongfang clan's territory. It was either this person was crazy, or this person had the ability to come and go as he pleased. Chen Xiang really came to the Heavenly Emperor City. It was just that the one fighting the young master of the Dongfang clan was not him, but an impostor. Wait a minute, are these guys using this kind of method to provoke me out? We can't be fooled. Chen Xiang followed the crowd and headed towards the profound Dragon Tower. The Xianlong Tower was 20 stories high and it was square at the top. At this time, there was a man dressed in black clothing on top of the tower. He held a long sword H.I.+Ning with a cold light, and was currently fighting with a handsome man with a large green saber. How can my green dragon demon-slaying broadsword be like this? Too shameless. If you want to fake it, you have to pretend to be better. F***ck. How could Lousy be such a pretty boy? Chen Xiang roared in his heart, his glorious image completely destroyed by the impostor. I really want to slap his face. Hee hee. He's not a pretty boy, he's basically a little girl. The one pretending to be you is a beautiful little girl, hee hee. Long Shui continued to laugh coquettishly. I didn't expect that the person with the 10 billion bounty is actually a sissy. Look at him, he's acting like this too? Did he train in some kind of martial arts that caused him to be neither male nor female? This sissy actually has such great ability to make the Dongfang family bid 10 billion, her reputation is indeed undeserved. That's right, I even thought he was a pure man. Hearing the comments the people around them made towards this impostor, Su Meiyao and Long Shui could not stop chuckling, but Chen Xiang was filled with anger. It's ruined, completely ruined. Although he knew that it was very likely to be a trap, Chen Xiang did not allow anyone to slander his reputation. This little girl who is pretending to be me, I want to. What are you going to do with her? First what? And then kill him? Long Shui laughed. I'm going to spank her behind more than her chest. Chen Xiang snorted coldly and continued to watch. Chen Xiang's mind suddenly flashed. He thought of a good plan, and quickly left the group of people, paying a high price to stay in a hotel. When this room was opened, he saw the profound dragon tower, which allowed Chen Xiang to see the battle even more clearly. Both of them are quite strong, but they did not use their full strength. Furthermore, their attacks were not ruthless enough. They did not have any killing intent in their move. D.A.M. In it, they are really acting. They are deliberately ruining my reputation. Chen Xiang sneered. Even after fighting for so long, no one from the Dongfang family has made a move. It seems that they are really acting. Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang looked at the profound dragon tower, his mouth chanting an incantation. He was going to use the heavenly dragon seal. It was long distance and powerful, and it was the best time to use heavenly dragon seal S. Moreover, this was Chen Xiang's signature move. Many people knew it, and since someone was pretending, Chen Xiang wanted this scene to be more lifelike. Young master of the Dongfang family, why don't I see how strong you are compared to Dongfang Yao? Chen Xiang sneered in his heart. Then, a storm suddenly surged in the sky, and the surrounding spirit chi suddenly surged violently towards him from afar, gathering in the air above the profound dragon tower. Chen Xiang's powerful mana was released, bringing along his powerful innate chi, as it filled the air with spirit energy, controlling a large amount of spirit energy that was frantically being used, and turning it into a whirlpool, producing a terrifying suction force that engulfed the surrounding spirit energy. Counterfeit, I'll let you see what the real thing looks like. Learn. Chen Xiang let out a cold laugh. A roar came from the whirlpool in the sky. When the whirlpool appeared, everyone was shocked. All of those who investigated Chen Xiang knew that it was Chen Xiang's ultimate move, but now it suddenly appeared, shocking everyone. They did not dare look down on that sissy anymore. The Xianlong Tower shook violently from the force of the whirlpool as the people inside quickly fled. Wrath of the Ice Dragon. Chen Xiang roared angrily in his heart. A ice dragon suddenly drilled out from the vortex in the sky, releasing a cold chi. Seeing this ice dragon that was made entirely out of ice crystals, its entire body was filled with a threatening might, shocking the audience, and they all quickly escaped. When the two people at the top of the Xianlong Tower saw this, they too paled in shock. With a huge leap, they fled the moment the ice dragon came cross. Hi+ing down. This ice dragon's punishment was not crude at all. After destroying the dragon tower, a burst of cold air rushed out and condensed into ice crystals in the surrounding buildings. The cold air continued to sweep in all directions, and wherever it went, it would turn into a world of ice and snow. Keep an eye on that impostor, I'm taking a break. The room that Chen Xiang was in was also filled with ice and frost, and he sat in meditation to rest. After an hour had passed, Chen Xiang had recovered quite a bit. Then young Master Dongfang went back to the eastern profound realm. The impostor is outside the city. Long Shui said. Impersonating your father and daring to run around, this idiot. Even though Chen Xiang said this, he had already taken out his Luotian gate. Did the impostor and young Master Dongfang have any interactions? No, but they must have known each other. Long Shui said. Opening the SPAC gate, Chen Xiang went outside of the city. The impostor was actually walking leisurely by himself towards a forest. Why is this woman still in the mood to sightsee? Chen Xiang had originally wanted to take action, but he still planned to follow her. He felt that after this impostor finished his act, there must be some kind of unspeakable secret that would come to this place. Chen Xiang followed the woman who pretended to be him and arrived at a quiet valley. There was actually a steaming pool of water here, and around the pool were a few beautiful flowers. The moment he saw the pool, he knew what the impostor was up to. You little scoundrel, you must be enjoying life. Long Shui laughed. That impostor was indeed a woman. She used her melodious voice and hummed a melody before squatting by the pool. She used her lily-white hands to pick up the hot water to wash the makeup on her face. After plussing her face, a beautiful face appeared. She was actually an extremely beautiful woman. What was even more frightening was that she began to take off her clothes. Little scoundrel, why aren't you fighting any more? Su Meiyao asked with a smile. Did you see that this is a great beauty, and then your heart moved? At most, she's just a little beauty. Only the two big sisters of the ring are such beauties. With you two around, how could I be interested in this little girl? Although Chen Xiang said that, he still stared at the beautiful figure beside the clear pool. After waiting for a while, the little beauty who was humming a tune without taking off her clothes made Chen Xiang go crazy with anger. After waiting for a while, the little beauty who was humming a tune without taking off her clothes made Chen Xiang go crazy with anger. Damn. And even taking off her clothes is so slow. She really is a woman. Chen Xiang thought. Take it off, take it off. Long Shui, the little rhinoceros, also unexpectedly urged on. Under the expectation of the two bad guys, Chen Xiang and Long Shui, the little beauty finally took off her men's clothes, and inside, she was wearing a woman's clothes. This made them secretly clench their teeth. As expected, the little beauty wanted to bathe in the lake. With her back facing Chen Xiang, her movements were graceful and captivating. Her snow-white body suddenly appeared in front of Chen Xiang. Her long legs, beautiful buttocks, alluring waist, and pink back that made people want to kiss her, all of them released a wild and soul-stirring aura, causing the evil fire in Chen Xiang's lower abdomen to rise. The little beauty kept the clothes inside her storage ring, tied up her hair, and walked into the pool. In that moment, Chen Xiang saw something that had a strong visual impact. He went down, what a pity! Long Shui sighed. The little beauty was soaking in the water with a cheerful smile on her face. She was humming a tune while enjoying the warm spring water. Little scoundrel, what do you plan to do now? Su Meiyao scoffed. Her voice carried a faint sour taste. Of course it's to go down and capture her alive, and then… Chen Xiang hastily interrupted Long Shui's daydreaming. Then it's your turn, you little bad dragon, there's no hope anymore. It seems like only I can subdue you. HNG. Chen Xiang laughed. Little bad dragon, is there any way to steal the storage ring on your finger? After Long Shui heard this, he began to giggle. Little scoundrel, you're the one that's hopeless. To me, this is just a small matter. Long Shui was more proficient at using the ability of taking things out of the air than Chen Xiang. In that instant, a storage ring flashed towards him, and the little beauty was humming a tune, not realizing that her storage ring was stolen. Chen Xiang floated gently and arrived at a tree at the side of the pool. He sat on top of the tree and looked down at the little beauty in the pool. This little beauty's strength could be considered quite good. She quickly discovered that there was movement on the tree. After a moment of shock, she raised her head and saw a man wearing a mask sitting on top of the tree, staring at her with his eyes. What surprised Chen Xiang was that the little beauty did not panic at all. Instead, she looked for her storage ring at once, but did not manage to find it. Only now did she start to panic and immediately covered her chest with her hand. "Who are you? Hurry up and return my storage ring back to me." The little beauty's jade face was filled with embarrassment and anger. Although her voice was anxious, it revealed a very natural gentleness. Chen Xiang laughed. "I'm here to take your head, you're worth 10 billion. The little beauty's body trembled as she bit her lips and shouted, "Since you know I'm worth 10 billion, then hurry up and leave." Never thought that this little beauty would actually be so brainless. No wonder she would pretend to be him, even daring to come to this kind of place to bathe after pretending. Goodbye then. Chen Xiang had actually left. Thinking about how Chen Xiang had obtained her storage ring, the little beauty anxiously shouted out, "Scoundrel, quick! Come back quickly and give me back my clothes." Chen Xiang landed on the side of the pool and stared at that beautiful and delicate face. She was a beauty that was filled with gentleness, but within gentleness, she did not lose her charm. "You little fool, do you think I'll return your clothes?" Chen Xiang laughed. I have not offended you. Why did you steal my storage ring? Give me back my storage ring, I will give you the spar." The little beauty became anxious. Chen Xiang was looking at her from such a close distance, causing her to tighten her legs and cover her chest. This little beauty was so adorable that Chen Xiang couldn't bear to tease her. "Why are you pretending to be Chen Xiang?" Chen Xiang's gaze became more fiery, causing the little beauty to lower her head. He never thought that this powerful fake would actually be so stupid. "My brother told me to do it. He said that he could attract Chen Xiang here like this, and he really did come in the end. As long as I agreed, he would agree to let me play by myself." Originally, Chen Xiang wanted to punish her severely, but facing such a simple and innocent little girl, he couldn't be ruthless in his heart. Chen Xiang laughed. "Then, what is your name? Who is Dongfang Yao to you?" "Dongfang Yao is my second brother, but he was sent to devil-subduing college by father a long time ago, but when my brother said that his power and influence was gone, he was sent away." The little beauty didn't know why, but she felt that the person in front of her who wore a mask had no ill intentions. She smiled sweetly at Chen Xiang. "I'm called Dongfang Jing, they all call me Jingjing, what about you?" Chen Xiang didn't expect this little beauty to be so naive. In an instant, she lost all caution against her enemies, and if he tricked her into selling them, she would even help him count the money. "My name is Chen Xiang." Chen Xiang took off his mask, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. He felt that this was the most honest smile he had ever had, but it still made Dongfang Jing scream in fear. Dongfang Jing, who was in the water, anxiously retreated. In her eyes, Chen Xiang was like a demon, which made it hard for Chen Xiang to understand, although his looks could not be ranked in the Chen martial continent, but it was still not bad. Why does this little beauty look like she saw a ghost? What are you afraid of? Chen Xiang knew that Dongfang Jing would answer any questions he asked. "You're a big bad guy, big devil big." Dongfang Jing frowned and looked at Chen Xiang with vigilance. Chen Xiang summoned his green dragon demon-slain broadsword, surging killing intent in all directions. His voice was filled with anger. "Who said it? I will chop him into pieces and feed him to the dogs, and you actually slander me like this?" "My big brother said it. He said you killed second brother, even though second brother is also a bad guy." Dongfang Jing answered Chen Xiang honestly. "Your big brother is also a bad guy, I'm going to kill him." Chen Xiang sneered. "You can't beat my big brother, you're just courting death by looking for him." Dongfang Jing said anxiously, as though the big brother she was referring to was invincible. Little fool, your big brother lied to you. Don't you know? If she believed the words of a pig, then what about her big brother? Dongfang Jing was indeed a very simple and kind girl. Even though she was no longer a girl, her brain was like a little girl of a few years old. Dongfang Jing was indeed a very simple and kind girl. Even though she was no longer a girl, her brain was like a little girl of a few years old. My elder brother will not lie to me. My elder brother is a good person, my second brother is a scoundrel, so I don't trust my second brother, and even more so, I don't trust a scoundrel like you. Dongfang Jing tightly held onto her ample chest and shrunk into the water. Her bitter and jade face was filled with bashfulness and anger, and her not crying out loud had already surprised Qin Xiang. Since you said I'm a bad guy, what do you think I should do to you now? Qin Xiang's face was filled with an evil smile, causing Dongfang Jing's heart to jump, filled with fear. Although she was simple, she knew a few things about relations. Hi+PS between men and women. Take it. If I were a bad guy, I would have eaten you to the point that not even your bones would remain. Qin Xiang threw the little beauty's ring over. This came as a great shock to Dongfang Jing. After she received the ring, she innocently shouted, "Turn around, I want to put on some clothes." Qin Xiang now understood why the Dongfang family did not allow this little idiot to run around. A little fool like this could even trick her into going around in circles. He let out a helpless sigh, then turned around and was about to leave the pool. Sigh. Wait, thank you for returning the storage ring to me. This nearly made Qin Xiang fall to the ground. This ring was originally hers, giving it back was a given, yet she actually thanked others. Qin Xiang turned his head, just as he was about to say, "No need to be courteous." He saw this little beauty wiping off the water on her body with a piece of cloth. The cloth just happened to graze her plump breasts pus. Plussing out the blush on the snow peak, causing Qin Xiang to almost spurt out blood from his nose. Ah! With a scream, it pierced through the clouds. You. Woo-woo, you saw it. You're a bad guy. Woo-woo. But when she started crying, she rubbed her eyes, leaving the eyes of the snow rabbit in front of Qin Xiang, whose chest was radiating spring light, exposed. As she sobbed, the snow-white and beautiful rabbit suddenly trembled, bringing about a burst of ambiguous spring waves, causing people to be captivated by her tears. Qin Xiang didn't know what to do. He wanted to say, "Actually I saw it long ago," but he knew that if he said it out loud, this idiot would cry even harder. "Wear your clothes quickly, or else I'll see you all." Just at this time, Long Shui model Qin Xiang's voice sounded out, and after Dongfang Jing heard it, his face flushed red, and anxiously used his clothes to cover his body. Qin Xiang was truly speechless. If it was a normal woman, she would have definitely dressed as quickly as possible, but this little idiot was still slowly wiping the water droplets on her body. Take it. Consider it my compensation. Qin Xiang took out a few sets of beautiful dresses and a few pairs of shoes. These were all carefully selected from within the sacred Dan realm, and were all made by hand, and the materials were all rare and beautiful. As expected, the little idiot was quickly attracted by the beautiful clothes and hurriedly took them over, while sobbing as he rummaged through the clothes and shoes. If it wasn't for Qin Xiang here, she might have immediately changed to try. "Sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Just pretend that what happened today never happened. Are you satisfied with the clothes?" Qin Xiang sincerely apologized. The little beauty's eyes were still filled with tears. After she wiped them clean, she said in a gentle and sweet voice, "You can't tell anyone else, or else I won't be able to protect my reputation. Also, thank you for the clothes you gave me." Qin Xiang laughed. "Then am I still a bad guy?" Dongfang Jing thought seriously for a while, then shook his head. "You're not a bad guy, but you're still a little bad. You're a bad guy." This made Long Shui and Su Meiyao, who were inside the ring, Poochie laugh. In the future, you have to be careful not to run around alone. You also met me, so if you met anyone else, you would have been tricked long ago. I'll return to the city. Chen Xiang originally wanted to leave immediately, but he could not bear to do so. Dongfang Jing nodded his head, then tidied up his clothes. Just like that, the innocent little beauty followed this little scoundrel out of the forest, without a shred of vigilance. This kind of idiot was something that could only be encountered once every 10,000 years, but today it was met by Chen Xiang. Jingjing, don't tell your brother that I've come to find you. If there's anything about me, don't say anything. Even if your brother sees through it, you still have to remain silent. Do you understand? Chen Xiang said very seriously. The little beauty nodded seriously and said, I won't say anything. I can definitely do what I've promised. I really don't understand. How did you cultivate to such an extent? Chen Xiang sighed. With this kind of brain, being able to become a warrior of the 100 refining realm was truly baffling. A lot of people say this about me, but as long as I train according to the rules, my innate qi can be increased. Furthermore, during the compet 1. Tian, I can also judge based on the opponent's martial skills and then fight back. I'm not stupid, even Big Brother is not my opponent, so why is it that so many people always call me stupid? The little beauty said while feeling wronged. She played with the beautiful accessory that Chen Xiang gave her. This caused Chen Xiang to find it hard to believe that young Master Dongfang was not a match for this stupid girl. Not long after exiting the forest, they arrived at Heavenly Emperor City. I won't be going into the city. Take this, if someone asks you, just say you picked it up. This is my gift to you, it can only be eaten by you, and is for your survival. Chen Xiang gave the stupid beauty a small jade box. When Dongfang Jing opened the jade box, a rich medicinal fragrance wafted out. 2 pills were S.H.I. plus Ning brightly, lying inside the jade box. This is the Relive Dan. The little beauty's beautiful eyes widened. Cover it quickly and put it away, Chen Xiang urged. This item is very expensive, I can't take it. Dongfang Jing pouted and said. He was determined to return the Relive Dan back to Chen Xiang. Take it. This is compensation that I've given you. I feel ashamed for you. Keep it, or else I will feel very uncomfortable. Chen Xiang said with a serious face. You really are a good person. Dongfang Jing revealed a sweet smile to Chen Xiang. I'm a good person to begin with, so don't pretend to be me next time. This is a very dangerous thing to do. Chen Xiang warned. Dongfang Jing nodded, then skipped away. It's such a pity if we don't trick a little fool like him into leaving. Chen Xiang was the one who gave Su Meiyao those 2 Relive Dan. There weren't many girls who were innocent, and it made people feel tender towards him. After Dongfang Jing left, Chen Xiang turned into a normal-looking middle-aged man, walking into the Heavenly Emperor City. He wanted to see how the profound Dragon Tower would react after it was destroyed. The Xianlong Tower was a place that specialized in selling ancient arts and craft. It was a place that specialized in antiques and was reserved for aristocrats to show off. It was one of the Dongfang family's big properties, but now it was filled with crushed ice. The Xianlong Tower was a place that specialized in selling ancient arts and craft. It was a place that specialized in antiques and was reserved for aristocrats to show off. It was one of the Dongfang family's big properties, but now it was filled with crushed ice. The Xian Dragon Pag. Had been struck by the ice dragon and had congealed into ice. Then, it suffered from the huge impact and was shattered into pieces. This caused the Dongfang family to suffer heavy losses. However, the Eastern Profound Realm was in a mess because the spirit energy inside was slowly decreasing. This was because Chen Xiang had taken away the vermilion bird's corpse that was hidden deep underground, causing the spirit energy source to disappear. Chen Xiang reckoned that in a short while, the Eastern Profound Realm would disappear without a trace without the support of a large amount of energy. The ambitious Dongfang family had no choice but to restrain themselves and resolve the clan's internal affairs. Although they were stopped by the devil-suppressing Divine Palace, they still occupied the mines and plunder resources everywhere, making many forces angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. It has already sealed off the entire city. I never thought that Chen Xiang would have such guts, with a bounty of 10 billion bounty. He still dares to come to Sky Emperor City to cause trouble, and even destroyed Xianyuan Dragon Tower. No wonder he dares to kill Dongfang Yao. Seems like young Master Dongfang is not his opponent. No matter what, Chen Xiang is still someone after all. He destroyed the Dragon Pag. Oh. Duh, this is clearly slapping Dongfang clan hard in the face. I wonder how the Dongfang family is feeling right now? Chen Xiang was in a tea house, sipping tea while looking at the entrance of the huge palace in the distance. Through the Heaven Tour method, he could see that many strong people were entering the Eastern Profound Realm in batches. If he wanted to know what happened inside, it was extremely simple for Chen Xiang. With a shake of his body, he changed back to Dongfang Rong, entered the palace, and then entered the Eastern Profound Realm from the palace. A lot of people were gathered inside, and they were all gathered at the same plaza. Once Chen Xiang arrived, he was questioned loudly by a burly man. Dongfang Rong, where did you go? You guys are going to be blamed for such a big thing that happened. This man was the leader of the patrol, a member of the Nirvana stage. At this moment, all the captains of the patrol teams were here, along with many of the Dongfang family's higher-ups as well as the big bosses who were leading troops. It was the Warm Moon Elder who asked me to go out and inquire about some things. Chen Xiang anxiously said. Then Dongfang Xinyue said that she would ensure that he would be all right. When the captain heard that it was the Warm Moon Elders who called him to do some work, he did not ask any further questions. Although the Warm Moon Elders rarely went out and usually looked very gentle, they were all over the place and even those old fellows were afraid. Chen Xiang saw that little fool Dongfang Jing, and she obediently followed behind a man who had a long beard and looked mature and stable. This man was somewhat similar to Dongfang Yao, and this was the big brother Dongfang Jing had mentioned before. It was an old man who had walked onto the high platform. He was the Grand Elder of the Dongfang family, the boss of the group of elders. He had been competing with the Dongfang family's patriarch for power. In the past when they were gathered, the one who spoke was the patriarch, and now it was the great clan elder. Chen Xiang was secretly surprised. This showed that the patriarch had already lost his power. To make a long story short, I will only say two things. First, go all out to hunt down Chen Xiang, the great enemy of the Dongfang family, and actually destroy our important property. Secondly, a traitor has appeared in our Dongfang family. Dongfang Xinyue actually S.N. A.T.C. head away our spiritual energy life vein under our Eastern Profound Realm and caused it to weaken every day. This is the great traitor of our Dongfang family. No 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 no. These two things are the shame of our Dongfang family. The patriarch is the younger brother of the traitor Dongfang Xinyue, so after discussion with our clan elders, we decided to temporarily annul his position as the family patriarch, until he captures Dongfang Xinyue and brings him back. Finally, everyone go back and pack up. We are preparing to move out of Eastern Profound Realm. Chen Xiang was shocked, and everyone started to discuss amongst themselves. They knew that it was rare for Dongfang Xinyue to leave the Eastern Profound Realm, so he had escaped. Dongfang Xinyue was an expert in smithing arrays. It was normal for him to steal the spiritual qi from the lifeline. These people were all lunatics. In order to achieve their goals, there was nothing that they couldn't do. But Chen Xiang didn't think that he would actually hurt this beauty's life, making her into a criminal within the family, and making her carry the T.I. of a traitor. Next, let the second elder speak of the matters that he should pay attention to during the migration as well as the person in charge. Chen Xiang grew impatient when he heard it and stealthily left, turning into a small bee-turfly, then flew around. At the same time, many buildings were set on fire, and the fire seeds condensed by the heaven fire, if it was a normal rock, would all be ignited. What are you carrying around for? I'll help you burn the fire. You guys can just leave. Chen Xiang laughed in his heart. He loved to set things on fire the most, and it was to the point that he would burn down the base of the number 1 power in this new world. Although this would not weaken the Dongfang family's strength, it would still make them angry for a long time. Just as the second elder finished speaking, with a thought from Chen Xiang, those flames he buried everywhere started to burn. In just a few moments, all the houses in the eastern profound realm were engulfed in raging flames, and cries came from everywhere. Chen Xiang had long since left the eastern profound realm. After strolling in the heavenly emperor city for a few days, Chen Xiang realized that the medicine stores here were all like the mortal martial realm-s back in the day. They were all left for him to sell, and they were all extremely expensive. He was extremely disappointed, and could only return to the super martial school since he had already obtained the vermilion bird's remains. Within the super martial school, a few guests came. The moment Chen Xiang returned to the super martial school, he was received into the guest hall, and after walking in for a look, he saw a few very familiar faces. One was the little fool Dongfang Jing, then Dongfang Profound Long, and finally, a handsome middle-aged man with an extraordinary bearing, dressed in gorgeous red clothes, which was also the Dongfang family's patriarch, Dongfang Chaochuan. After Dongfang Jing saw Chen Xiang, she immediately lowered her head, and did not dare to look straight into Chen Xiang's eyes, afraid that others would find out that she was acquainted with Chen Xiang. "Yo, aren't these the fellows who placed bounty on me? They actually came here and want to take my head for themselves?" And Wu Keiming were both here, so when they saw Chen Xiang, they had no choice but to get up and pay their respects to him. "Junior Marshal Uncle. No need to be so polite." Chen Xiang raised his hand, his voice light. How could Dongfang Chaochuan not know the power of Gu Dongchen and Wu Keiming? As the patriarch of the Dongfang family, he was very strong, but he didn't expect the two leaders of the super martial school to be so respectful to this brat. Now, he understood that even if the bounty was 10 billion, there wouldn't be many people who could successfully take Chen Xiang's life. Only the people from the Dongfang family knew about this Dongfang family's patriarch. He was so humiliated that he was kicked off his seat casually. No one listened to him, but the outsiders felt that this Dongfang family's patriarch was very powerful and honorable. Only the people from the Dongfang family knew about this Dongfang family's patriarch. He was so humiliated that he was kicked off his seat casually. No one listened to him, but the outsiders felt that this Dongfang family's patriarch was very powerful and honorable. If you are here because of the matter of the profound dragon tower, then please return. None at all. If it's for that Dongfang Yao, you will all be disappointed. His death has nothing to do with it at all. It's just that I offended that bull's HI plus TG. OD, so he intentionally slandered me. But now that the GOD child has been slaughtered by me and I have no proof, I know that it's hard to prove what I just said. Chen Xiang slowly said without waiting for the other party to speak. This made Dongfang Chaochuan think of a lot of things that would happen if he were to die. Gu Dongchen and Wu Keiming were both secretly surprised. Chen Xiang had been offered a bounty by someone else, but he still dared to go to someone's territory and destroy an expensive tower. This kind of person could do such a thing no matter what world he was in. You said everything. That's right, we came here for the matter of the Dragon Tower and Dongfang Yao. Since you said it like that, it seems like we can't pursue it. Dongfang Chaochuan stood up and said seriously, "Even though I am still the patriarch of the Dongfang clan, I do not have any power. The person in charge of the Dongfang clan now will not put the devil-suppressing divine palace in his eyes. After Dongfang Chaochuan brought his children and left, Chen Xiang's expression became serious. The reason the great clan elder of Dongfang clan wanted to capture him was to find an excuse to attack the Chen martial continent, because this was one of the strongest powers in the mortal martial realm, and there were even Taiji dragon-suppressed Kung Fu-s amongst them. Chen Xiang suddenly understood why the Dongfang clan wanted to capture him. It was because of the Taiji dragon-suppressed Kung Fu, and Huang Jintian was inside. That was why they had to find all sorts of excuses. What happened to the Dongfang family? After Gu Dongchen sent him off, he returned to the living room. Chen Xiang said, that big sister Dongfang Chaochuan was seen as a traitor. After that, the elders joined hands and kicked the patriarch off the stage. They wanted Dongfang Chaochuan to capture his big sister, but it seems impossible. Looks like it won't be long before the Dongfang clan's army arrives here. They are here for the Taiji dragon-suppressed Kung Fu. The Taiji dragon-suppressed Kung Fu had long ago caused a wave of BLOODY reign in the mortal martial realm, but it was dissolved by Chen Xiang later on, because he helped many powers find the martial skills left behind by their ancestors. Now it was different because this was a new world. After hearing that there was such an unrivaled divine technique, who wouldn't want to SNATCH it away? Dongfang Chaochuan, I never thought that you would also be a traitor, to actually come all the way here. What exactly are your intentions? Suddenly, an angry voice resonated above Super Martial School, causing Chen Xiang and the others to become serious. It's the Grand Elder of the Dongfang family. Chen Xiang immediately stood up and left the hall. Gu Dongchen and Chen Xiang walked towards the door together, while Wu Keiming went to call the head of the Super Martial School over. The people of the Dongfang family had actually arrived so quickly, and it was even a large group of people who used the transmission array to teleport to the entrance of the Super Martial School. A powerful chi came out. Chen Xiang anxiously shouted, "Someone has attacked!" Arriving at the door, Dongfang Chaochuan's face was ugly, blood trickling down from the corner of his mouth. He held onto his stomach with one hand as he stared at the great clan elder coldly. "Dongfang Lingyun, you are ruthless enough." Dongfang Chaochuan was actually struck by the great clan elder. "Father, are you all right?" Dongfang Jing's face was full of worry as she held her father. "You are a traitor to the Dongfang family, you siblings as well. This is the only way to deal with traitors." Dongfang Lingyun's old face was full of malice. As the great clan elder, in order to stabilize his authority in the Dongfang family, he had to get rid of Dongfang Chaochuan and Dongfang Xinyue, the two powerful siblings. The main gate of the Super Martial School was guarded by dozens of powerful Nirvana stage, led by Dongfang Lingyun. This was the first time in many years that the Super Martial School had been attacked by enemies in such a way. "Jing, I'm fine." After Dongfang Chaochuan finished speaking, he spat out another large mouthful of blood. "Traitor!" Just then, Dongfang Profoundlong's quick sword stabbed out, piercing into Dongfang Chaochuan's chest, coming out from his body. His son had tried to assassinate his father. This shocked Chen Xiang and the others, and it was a ruthless strike from behind. "Son of a bitch." Angry, Dongfang Chaochuan smashed a palm towards his own son, but was blocked by the great elder Dongfang Lingyun. "Even your son thinks you're a traitor, haha." Dongfang Lingyun laughed. Dongfang Jing's eyes were filled with tears and he shouted loudly, "You are not my big brother, you are a big scoundrel, you attacked daddy." With one glance, Chen Xiang could tell that this Dongfang Profoundlong had already sold out his father. Otherwise, his father wouldn't have been captured the moment he left the Super Martial School, led by the great clan elder. As Dongfang Lingyun laughed, he gave Dongfang Chaochuan another ruthless palm, sending him flying back, ing into the wall next to the door. Now that Dongfang Lingyun had fulfilled his wish, he could reasonably eliminate the patriarch, and Dongfang Profound Long, who sold his father, stood behind the great clan elder with a sinister smile. Tears rolled down Dongfang Jing's face. She saw that after her father was heavily injured, she no longer cared about the promise she had made to Chen Xiang. She took out a relive Dan and placed it in Dongfang Chaochuan's mouth. This caused Dongfang Lingyun and the others to be extremely shocked. This relive Dan was also a precious object in their eyes, but this little girl actually had two of them. Dongfang Lingyun's eyes were hot, his old face was full of jealousy, but just as he was about to take action and the stone away, Gu Dongchen spoke out. "This is my super martial school's territory, try attacking again." Gu Dongchen's voice was filled with anger. At this time, he sympathized with Dongfang Chaochuan a lot, especially when his own son stabbed him with a sword. Other people might be afraid of your super martial school, but our Dongfang family isn't. This little girl stole our Dongfang family's precious pills, I just want to get it back. Dongfang Lingyun said loudly. Chen Xiang had seen many shameless people, but this was the first time he saw such a shameless person. What right do you have to say that the relived Dan belongs to your Dongfang family? Chen Xiang asked with a sneer, while at the same time, many experts from the super martial school arrived at the door one after another. She is just a little girl. Besides stealing, where else can she get her hands on? Dongfang Lingyun didn't dare act rashly. If they continued to fight, they would suffer heavy losses. He didn't expect that there would be so many powerful warriors hiding in super martial school. Can't I give it to her? Chen Xiang sneered. Ha ha! With just you? You are willing to give the relived Dan to this girl? Although you may have had an affair, who would believe such a lie? Dongfang Lingyun laughed, and the other experts behind him all mocked him. He gave it to me. He gave me 2 pills. When Dongfang Jing saw that her father had recovered, she wiped her tears and shouted. Ha ha! Dongfang Lingyun laughed out loud. This silly girl has actually learnt to lie. I think it was you who stole it from our Dongfang family. Chen Xiang shook his head and sighed. Isn't it just relived Dan? I have a bunch, if you don't believe me you can look. With that, Chen Xiang took out a jade box. He opened it, and the medicinal fragrance rushed out like a storm. The materials needed to refine a relived Dan were equally rare. Even if there were materials, it was hard to say if it would succeed. But inside Chen Xiang's jade box, there were at least 100 or so relived Dan. With so many of them, those old fellows of the Dongfang family had greedy eyes as they looked at Chen Xiang, wanting to snatch them away. The materials needed to refine a relived Dan were equally rare. Even if there were materials, it was hard to say if it would succeed. But inside Chen Xiang's jade box, there were at least 100 or so relived Dan. With so many of them, those old fellows of the Dongfang family had greedy eyes as they looked at Chen Xiang, wanting to snatch them away. Have you not seen the relived Dan before? Chen Xiang laughed and kept the box. It was true that they had seen relived Dan before, but it was still the first time that they had seen so many relived Dan, and it was also the same for Gu Dongchen and Wu Kaming. Fortunately, the people who had seen so many relived Dan were their junior masters, so they were not afraid that they would not be able to find them in the future. Of course, to buy the relived Dan from Chen Xiang, he had to pay a huge price. Dongfang Jing, I never thought that you stupid girl would also do something like betraying the Dongfang clan. From today on, you two will no longer be people of our Dongfang clan. Dongfang Lingyun said coldly, but in his heart, he was thinking about Chen Xiang's box of relived Dan. After Dongfang Chaochuan ate the relived Dan, he quickly recovered. The effects of the relived Dan were really strong, such a strong expert was. HIT twice, after being heavily injured and falling to the ground, he ate 1 pill and stood up on the spot. And Chen Xiang had a big box of these. Dongfang Chaochuan understood his own daughter very well. He had never expected that Chen Xiang would secretly come and visit his daughter from the way Dongfang Jing looked at him. Moreover, their relations, Hi plus P, was close to each other. If not, he would not have gifted her 2 relived Dan. From the eyes of the many experts, Chen Xiang could understand the power of an alchemist. Chen Xiang took out a relived Dan and tossed it in his hands, not putting this incomparably precious relived Dan in his eyes at all. What the hell are you guys doing here? The Dongfang Imperial Clan's clan chief is here to get even with me. We are all people with status, so he actually dared to openly walk in here to discuss this matter with me. However, in the end, they were not able to come to an agreement and were slandered as a traitor by you all. From what I see, you all want to get rid of him a long time ago. Chen Xiang sneered. He gently waved his hand and threw the relived Dan towards Dongfang Jing, accurately throwing it onto the little idiot beauty's jade hand. Dongfang Jing stopped and placed the relived Dan into the box, causing many old fellows to want to scold him. Since when was the relived Dan so low, to actually be casually toyed with and given to others as a gift? Back then, when they were crossing Nirvana doom, it could be said that they were begging everywhere for pills like dogs. Dongfang Lingyun, the reason why I worried about you previously was because my sons and daughters being plotted against by you, but now, you and I will not rest until we are dead. We will fight to the death and I will take revenge for today. Dongfang Chaochuan's voice was filled with grief and indignation. He looked at his own son, who was the one who made him the most furious. He was actually stabbed in the back by his own son. There were indeed a lot of people from the Dongfang family. Very quickly, another group arrived, and they were all from the Nirvana stage. They were all very powerful, and this made Dongfang Lingyun even more confident. These people were experts from other continents, and they all belonged to the Dongfang family. They were experts from the other continents that were occupied by the Dongfang family. What do you want? Gu Dongchen took a step forward. His voice was like thunder, full of anger. With so many people surrounding the entrance of Super Martial School, what else could they do? This Dongfang Lingyun actually wanted to take down the Super Martial School by force. Super Martial School colluded with us, the traitors of the Dongfang family, in order to harm our family. We are just trying to take the initiative, kill him and capture Chen Xiang alive. Dongfang Lingyun roared. Gu Dongchen and Wu Kaming both never thought that Dongfang Lingyun would actually make a move like that. In fact, Dongfang Lingyun had also been attracted by Chen Xiang's box of relived Dan. He felt that the relived Dan in Chen Xiang's hands was simply a expense. Where did this bastard come from? Don't think that just because you have more people, that is already amazing. An angry voice suddenly resounded like a clap of thunder. That strong pressure made everyone involuntarily bend their knees. Dongfang Lingyun and the rest of the more than 100 Nirvana stage warriors were under an even greater pressure. Some of them even spat out a mouthful of blood and kneeled down, while Dongfang Lingyun laid on the ground, howling under the extremely violent pressure. As long as I, Huang Jintian, am still alive, don't even think about making a move on Super Martial School. Today I will temporarily spare your dog lives. Your dog lives will be taken by my Super Martial School's younger generation. Get lost now. Huang Jintian's crazed and furious voice shook this group of rankers who thought that they were invincible, causing them to vomit blood frantically. They were extremely frightened. There was actually such a strong person in Super Martial School. Chen Xiang, get your ass in here right now. Why haven't you come to see me? Huang Jintian shouted again. Originally, Chen Xiang wanted to pull out his blade and chop off all the old fellows of the Dongfang family, but he didn't expect that when Huang Jintian withdrew his strength, that group of people immediately ran away. Junior Martial Uncle, take care. Gu Dongchen patted Chen Xiang's shoulder. Wu Kaming also looked at him with sympathy. Huang Jintian was extremely angry. If Chen Xiang went to see him now, it would be equivalent to looking for a beating. Chen Xiang's face was bitter as he ran towards Super Martial Profound Realm. Blood-curdling screams echoed in the sky ditch of the Super Martial Profound Realm's forbidden ground. This was naturally Chen Xiang's scream. The moment he came down, without saying a word, Huang Jintian started to refine everything on him. Chen Xiang refused to admit defeat. After fighting with Huang Jintian for a few moves, he had used all his strength to gain the upper hand and thus felt complacent. However, he never thought that Huang Jintian would go against his principles and increase his strength. After Huang Jintian finished testing his strength, although he did not say anything on the surface, he was still extremely surprised. This was because every time Chen Xiang came down, he would always feel pleasantly surprised. "Brat, what's going on outside? Have you caused trouble for the Super Martial School? You are just like your eldest senior brother, you only know how to cause trouble all day," Huang Jintian reprimanded. Chen Xiang muttered, "When you were young, you were still like a bird. I am me. I can solve all the troubles I cause by myself. Your senior brother has always wanted me to wipe his butt. Huang Jintian knocked on Chen Xiang's head fiercely. "Hurry and tell me, what kind of trouble did you cause to make such a large group of people run to the door to shout and fight?" Chen Xiang felt extremely wronged. He really didn't want to cause this trouble, so he immediately told them about the New World and Dongfang Lingyun's ambitions. After saying that, Huang Jintian fiercely knocked Chen Xiang on the head again. "Such a huge thing happened 2 years ago, King only told me now." This. Chen Xiang had no choice but to tell Huang Jintian about the demon and devil sinkhole, in case this crazy old man decided to go overboard. At the very least, he would be tormented for a year. "A minute, how can we defend ourselves against such a mess? There's even a bunch of ambition dogs." Huang Jintian's expression became heavy. "You have to increase your strength quickly, at the very least you have to pass through the Nirvana Doom and enter the Nirvana stage, if not you will hide here with me." How can we defend ourselves against such a mess? There's even a bunch of ambition dogs. Huang Jintian's expression became heavy. "You have to increase your strength quickly, at the very least you have to pass through the Nirvana Doom and enter the Nirvana stage, if not you will hide here with me." Chen Xiang curled his lips and said, "I'm not hiding, I have already trained my devil-subduing method to the great perfection stage." You are indeed quite capable. Although I have reconstructed those mental cultivation methods, I am still unable to successfully refine them. Looks like they are the same as the devil-suppressing kung fu. It's hard to cultivate them." Huang Jintian was upset. He was actually not able to learn a martial arts that his disciple could. This made him very unhappy. Because of the incident with the devil-subduing method, Huang Jintian's mood was suddenly very bad. After sending Chen Xiang away in an extremely crude manner, he began cultivating. After Chen Xiang came up, a day had already passed since that incident, and Dongfang Lingyun didn't dare to have any thoughts about Super Martial School anymore. If it wasn't for Huang Jintian leaving their lives in the hands of the Super Martial School's younger generation, all of their 100 people would have probably died in front of the Super Martial School's doorstep. There could only be one explanation for such power, and that was the power of an immortal. Moreover, he was not a normal immortal. "Junior Martial Uncle, you look pretty good," Gu Dongchen said with a smile. "Not bad, your head. I almost went crazy down there." "Oh right, what about the Dongfang father and daughter?" Chen Xiang asked. "She left. That little girl also gave you a letter." Gu Dongchen said the letter to Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang sighed, opened it and written a beautiful word on it. "Thank you, Chen Xiang, for giving me such a precious pill, and even helping me and Daddy to get out of danger. Daddy and I will hide away and improve our strength, and someday, we will definitely return to the Dongfang family to take revenge." This little fool, take care. Chen Xiang laughed and kept the letter. Little martial uncle, your hands are so long. How could you reach the Dongfang family so quickly and capture this innocent little girl's heart? Gu Dongchen laughed. He admired Chen Xiang from the bottom of his heart. The Dongfang family had only just raised the bounty, yet Chen Xiang had gone there to get along with the daughter of the Dongfang family's patriarch. Chen Xiang glanced at him. Go to the side, do you believe that I, Junior Master, will smash you to death with my relived Dan? Speaking of the relived Dan, Gu Dongchen immediately became excited. Junior Martial Uncle, where did you get it from? Back then, when Chen Xiang was in Sacred Dan realm, he had already known beforehand and brought back a large amount of high-level pellet. Now, there was already a very obvious benefit to it. Don't ask too much. When I'm in a good mood, come talk to me about this matter. I just came back from the old lunatic's place, so I'm in a very bad mood. Chen Xiang snorted, and walked out of the super-martial profound realm. Dongfang Chaochuan was not weak either, but compared to the many powerful warriors that were gathered around Dongfang Lingyun, he was still weak. He was not stupid enough to fight Dongfang Lingyun with his life on the line, and was still quite intelligent enough to hide and develop his strength, waiting for an opportunity to strike Dongfang Lingyun ruthlessly. It was already difficult for Chen Xiang to pull himself together after his older sister had betrayed him and lost her power. Chen Xiang was also waiting for the day that Dongfang Chaochuan would rise up. In his heart, he actually wanted to see that silly little beauty again. Chen Xiang quietly went to Divine Weapon's heavenly country. He wanted to find Lu Meng'er, and at the same time, look for the missing Dongfang Xinyue. You don't have to blame yourself for harming them. If it wasn't for you, Dongfang Chaochuan wouldn't have been able to see the faces of the people around him clearly. Su Meiyao laughed. That's right, I wonder if this Dongfang Xinyue has come to find elder sister Meng'er. Chen Xiang took out an order badge and successfully entered the palace, which was tightly guarded. Opening the door of the quiet and refined house, Chen Xiang only saw two great beauties wearing simple white dresses, sitting on the lawn. They were frowning as they looked at a drawing that was filled with mysterious engravings. One was Lu Meng'er, the other was obviously Dongfang Xinyue. The two girls met each other as if they knew each other, talked about everything, and quickly got to know each other. Then, they studied those profound and complex refining treasure books together. Chen Xiang suddenly realized that the two looked very similar. They had the imposing aura of emperors, both had the same peerless beauty and mature charm, and they were also extremely infatuated with array Dao and equipment forging. However, when Lu Meng'er treated outsiders, he was cold and elegant, with the aura of an emperor. As for Dongfang Xinyue, no matter who he was to, he revealed an extremely natural gentleness even though he looked gentle and amiable. However, there was a faint arrogance in her demeanor that could not be seen from 1,000 miles away. Cough, cough. Chen Xiang coughed dryly, waking the two great beauties who were completely focused on the battle. Seeing that Dongfang Xinyue was still in the mood to study these spirit grain, she knew that she had not heard of the huge change in Dongfang clan. Dongfang Xinyue was tricked here by Chen Xiang when he turned into Dongfang Rong, but right now Dongfang Xinyue did not recognize that Chen Xiang was Dongfang Rong, but she knew that this tall and handsome, mature and steady man was the one whose bounty was placed on them by the Dongfang family. Who is she? Elder sister Meng'er, is she your big sister or little sister? You all look alike. Chen Xiang pretended to be surprised. With his thief eyes, he unrestrainedly looked at Dongfang Xinyue's beautiful body, causing Lu Meng'er to secretly scold him. I am Dongfang Xinyue. The Dongfang Yao you killed is my nephew. Dongfang Xinyue said indifferently. Her voice had an intoxicating gentleness, her beautiful eyes had a gentle glow in them as she looked at Chen Xiang. She blinked once, as though releasing countless electric currents. Chen Xiang's mind rippled, scolding the beauty, but his expression did not change, and he laughed coldly. So you are a traitor of the Dongfang family? Your brother and you have been expelled from the Dongfang family. What did you say? Say that again. Dongfang Xinyue's jade face was full of anger. Her angry look was not scary at all, rather it was a bit lovely. Warm Moon, let him explain. Lu Meng'er knew that Chen Xiang would not say these words for no reason, and immediately stopped him. Chen Xiang sighed, and calmly told Dongfang Xinyue about the incident in the Dongfang family, leaving out the matter of him gifting the relived Dan to Dongfang Jing. In order to confirm this matter, Lu Meng'er even called for a manager elder. That elder spoke the same words as Chen Xiang, which made Dongfang Xinyue extremely angry. I knew that this bunch of old guys would always try to find a reason to expel us from the Dongfang family. That brat Dongfang Profound Long, for nothing, I treated him so well, and he actually sold out the entire group. Dongfang Xinyue said in anger. Relive Dan, it's even 3 pills. Kid, when did you become so rich? Lu Meng'er rolled his eyes at Chen Xiang. His voice carried jealousy, which the angry Dongfang Xinyue could not see through. Chen Xiang had originally omitted about this matter, but when the elder that Lu Meng'er called out spoke out, he immediately caused Lu Meng'er to roll his eyes. Meng'er, let's continue studying this blueprint. I want to get stronger. I want to make those old fellows regret their actions. Dongfang Xinyue suddenly became full of fighting spirit. Isn't this drawing from my refining treasure book? Chen Xiang intentionally said. Just now Dongfang Xinyue did not give him a good look, and it made him feel extremely displeased. He also didn't know why Lu Meng'er would suddenly become friends with this Dongfang Xinyue. Their relations, Hi+P, was so good, and they even shared such a precious spirit grain. Is this yours? Dongfang Xinyue did not know about this matter, but her attitude towards Chen Xiang had become much better, because she knew that Chen Xiang had given her 3 relived Dan. When she had heard about this back then, she was shocked too. The refining treasure book was left behind by the Dan King Li Tianjun, and this Li Tianjun was also a strange person. Not only was he well versed in the Tao of pills, he could also travel through many different worlds, leaving behind this extremely profound refining treasure book. The refining treasure book was left behind by the Dan King Li Tianjun, and this Li Tianjun was also a strange person. Not only was he well versed in the Tao of pills, he could also travel through many different worlds, leaving behind this extremely profound refining treasure book. It was left to me by a senior. Chen Xiang said casually. How's your learning progress? Can you refine some powerful items based on the content inside? The refining treasure book contains a lot of things, including talisman crafting, formation setting, and artifact forging. If you want to learn, you must first understand those spirit grain and integrate them before being able to use them in a deeper level. Dongfang Xinyue's face was full of excitement. Oh right, what kind of powerful things did you steal from the Eastern Profound Realm? Actually caused the spirit energy of the entire Eastern Profound Realm to fall. Chen Xiang deliberately asked, but Dongfang Xinyue had actually not stolen anything. Sure enough, when Chen Xiang asked about this, she was very angry. I didn't steal anything. There is a lifeline of spirit energy at the bottom of the Eastern Profound Realm. I don't know what it is like exactly. There are 10 entrances in the Eastern Profound Realm that lead down, and there is an entrance where I live. When I left, something like this happened. Those old guys must have deliberately taken away the Qi lifeline and planted it on me. That's so infuriating. The angry look of this beauty was so cute that Chen Xiang really wanted to anger her again. Dongfang Xinyue did not know about the vermilion bird's remains that were buried deep underground. This made Chen Xiang feel at ease to use it in the future. There was a terrifying fire underneath the Eastern Profound Realm. Even immortals could be killed if they entered. He guessed that no one in the Dongfang family knew about the vermilion bird's remains. Elder Sister Meng'er, how is the reform of my death-haunting arrow progressing? This was one of the reasons he was looking for Lu Meng'er right now. How would I have the time to change? I do have a plan, but you know a lot of things that happened after that. I don't even have the time to figure it out. Lu Meng'er took out the death-haunting arrow, her beautiful eyes flashed, and she laughed. How about I help you modify this with Warm Moon, and make this thing even more powerful? Dongfang Xinyue took the death-haunting arrow and looked, then snorted. This thing is truly damaged, but it is also a pretty good weapon, but its grade is too low, the power that it condenses is too weak, it is difficult to harm powerful people, it indeed needs to be greatly improved. The two beautiful women were both smithing experts, so the things they refined together were definitely very powerful. Chen Xiang had heard Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao say often that there were many powerful immortal equipment that were made by a group of people in the heaven realm. Not only is this Dongfang Xinyue alluring and peerless, she is kind, gentle, and powerful. She is also in danger now, and if I try my best to give her some benefits, it wouldn't be difficult to keep her by elder sister Meng'er's side. This kind of woman must not be let go easily. Chen Xiang calculated in his heart. Using the resources in his hands, forget about a Nirvana stage's artificer, even an immortal would be able to save him. Sister Warm Moon is really an expert, seeing through everything with one look. Chen Xiang immediately praised. If you and elder sister Meng'er had worked together to refine it, this death-haunting arrow would definitely be very strong. Seeing Chen Xiang call him Warm Moon Sis, Lu Meng'er knew that this little scoundrel's motive was not pure, and secretly rolled his eyes at him. Dongfang Xinyue smiled gently. I have never teamed up with others to refine it, but I have always wanted to try, it's just that finding a good partner is very difficult, now I have found one. We will work together to refine the best ones, but the materials are too hard to find. Little brother, you have to know, this weapon requires a great amount of energy. If the material is not good and it can't withstand strong enough energy, then it would be a waste. How could Chen Xiang not know? Of course, as far as the vermilion bird skeleton was concerned, it was a material for the God level. If one were to refine such a large skeleton into an immortal weapon, it was unknown how much of it would be refined. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu took out the smallest piece of bone from the vermilion bird's skeleton. It was unknown which part of the skeleton was it, in short, it was as big as a bed, and this little bit of bone, to the vermilion bird's skeleton, was only equivalent to a strand of hair. How's the material? Chen Xiang suddenly took out a large piece of fiery red bone. The bone emitted a weak yet powerful heat, which shocked the two beautiful women who knew a lot about flames. What kind of bones are these? A dragon bone? But that doesn't seem to be the case. There's no aura unique to dragons. Dongfang Xinyue frowned as she looked at the bone. Her jade-like hand gently caressed it, the bone was as smooth as jade, it felt very good to the touch, and it was a little warm. Can you help me change the death-haunting arrow even more? All that's left are the rewards for the two sisters. Chen Xiang said sweetly. Lu Meng'er was no longer surprised by what Chen Xiang had. He had 3 divine artifacts, and these top-quality materials could be easily compared to those 3 divine artifacts. It's simple for us to have good materials. Let's start now. Lu Meng'er looked at Dongfang Xinyue and smiled slightly. The two beauties had changed into a set of close-fitting clothes that were convenient for work, outlining their curvaceous and charming bodies, making Chen Xiang's eyes constantly swivel above them. Very quickly, the death-haunting arrow was dismantled into pieces. The two women only needed the spirit grain on top and referenced the structure inside, then they started to design the shape. Although this was the first time they had worked together, they had a very close understanding of one another. Chen Xiang suddenly realized something worth being happy about, that Dongfang Xinyue did not have a fire soul, and furthermore, when she saw that purple frost fire soul, she was extremely envious. The quality of the purple frost fire soul was slightly better than the one Chen Xiang had fused with back then. Alchemist and the equipment forger were similar, and they relied heavily on fire. As long as the people from the Fire Divine Palace were still here, Chen Xiang would be able to obtain a lot of fire souls. According to his knowledge, the Fire Divine Palace above the Heaven Realm had a lot of people who possessed fire souls, and the vast majority of people came here through plundering. Give her a fire soul, will she sleep with you for the night? Long Shui asked with a smile. Fuck, don't let your imagination run wild. I'm not that kind of person, and she's not that kind of person either. Chen Xiang snorted. I can't cut it. Dongfang Xinyue was sweating profusely. It was the same for Lu Meng'er, the bones were too hard. Although the two girls were Nirvana Stage's top warriors, they had been busy for a long time, and could only leave behind a small mark. Seeing Chen Xiang looking down on them, these two mature and charming beauties couldn't help but blush. They had actually lost face in front of a little kid, which made them feel ashamed. Seeing these two beauties being tormented to the point that their bodies were drenched, Chen Xiang smiled but did not say a word. Seeing these two beauties being tormented to the point that their bodies were drenched, Chen Xiang smiled but did not say a word. What are you laughing at? What the hell is this? Lu Meng'er charmingly snorted, taking out a handkerchief and wiping her sweat. Dongfang Xinyue was also puzzled for a while. She said in a low voice, This dragon bone is very strong. It should be something like a immortal beast. Little brother, are you deliberately making things difficult for us? Dongfang Xinyue asked gently. That call of little brother made Chen Xiang's bones go numb. Brat, you're purposely playing with us. Lu Meng'er pretended to be angry and asked. Chen Xiang spread out his hands and said, You're accusing me unjustly. Why didn't you say so earlier? Why didn't you ask me for help? Can you? Dongfang Xinyue was in disbelief. What if I do it? Chen Xiang laughed. Seeing his smile, Lu Meng'er knew that Chen Xiang had a way. Just as Dongfang Xinyue wanted to say something, Lu Meng'er shouted anxiously. Then why aren't you doing it already? If he did not stop Dongfang Xinyue would have been taken advantage of by this little scoundrel. How much do you want to cut out? Chen Xiang walked over and shook his head. I'm saying, why are you women trying to be brave? Even after all this time, you still can't get rid of them. Why aren't you telling me about it? Humph, we can't get them all out of the way, but you can? She knew that Chen Xiang was not an ordinary brat, but no matter what, his strength was limited. If you can open it, I'll. Seeing that, Lu Meng'er anxiously cut Dongfang Xinyue off and said softly, Warm Moon, I got my fire soul from this brat, don't look down on him. Many people who were stronger than him have underestimated him. Now they are all dead, without a single piece of SCR. AP remaining. Dongfang Xinyue was shocked. To think that Chen Xiang could actually help someone else obtain the fire soul. Her ability was indeed not weak. She anxiously shut her mouth. She knew Lu Meng'er would not casually say these kinds of things. So what? Chen Xiang laughed. How about you be my female slave? Die! Lu Meng'er shouted. She waved her hand and knocked on Chen Xiang's head heavily. Open! You must be joking. Chen Xiang touched his head that was in pain and laughed. Luckily you were able to say it. Let Warm Moon be your. Lu Meng'er glared at him with her beautiful eyes. Kid, you're getting more and more dishonest. Dongfang Xinyue wanted to say something, but she stopped herself. She actually wanted to ask Chen Xiang if she could get her a set of fire soul, but she knew that it would require a lot of rewards. Chen Xiang thought, what's wrong with that? Hua Xiangyue is my female slave. Hurry, we found a big secret inside the refining treasure book. After we crack it, we should be able to obtain a map. Lu Meng'er urged. Map? The refining treasure book has a map? This caused Chen Xiang to be secretly surprised. The refining treasure book was Li Tianjuan's, and the things left behind by this guy, were they not good stuff? Dongfang Xinyue nodded his head. The profound spirit grain in this refining treasure book isn't complete, but someone has deliberately left some clues inside, which can help us find something even more comprehensive. Chen Xiang also wanted to know the secret inside. He took out the green dragon demon-slain broadsword and fed it to the heaven fire, and then, like cutting tofu, he cut off a small piece of the bone according to the marks on it. This caused Lu Meng'er and Dongfang Xinyue to be dumbstruck. They had spent so much effort and had only made a few scars, but Chen Xiang had easily cut them open. With the green dragon demon-slain broadsword's divine tool coupled with Chen Xiang's powerful heaven fire, he could easily cut apart the vermilion bird's skeleton. Furthermore, the vermilion bird's skeleton was already taken in by Chen Xiang. It had a high defense. Refining the vermilion bird's skeleton was also very difficult, as the vermilion bird itself was a fire-attributed divine bird, so of course the bones would find it difficult to melt. In the end, Chen Xiang had no choice but to partake 1p8 and use its heaven fire to melt the bones. The process was extremely complicated. Even Chen Xiang was completely baffled by it. The biggest headache was carving those very complicated spirit grain onto the surface, then sculpting the melted materials with his mind and adding other materials. Some of the materials were even a layer of spirit grain, covered with one kind of material and then carved another. On top of Chen Xiang's green dragon demon-slain broadsword, there were countless small spirit grain. For example, in a small dot there was just a spirit grain array, and those spirit grain, not being refiners, had shrunk countless of times, carved into a dot. The refining process for the divine tool was extremely huge. Chen Xiang felt that if he were to cut open the green dragon demon-slain broadsword, he would see some extremely complex spirit grain. And death-haunting arrows were nothing to these two beauties, especially when they worked together. It would be completed very quickly. In just 2 days, all the parts of the death-haunting arrow were assembled. The new death-haunting arrow was a bit larger than the previous one and looked very domineering. Although the material was fiery red in color, in order to prevent it from being dazzling, it would add something and turn it black. After all, it was used to trick people in the dark. When Chen Xiang held it in his hand, he felt that it was very handsomely made, and that its appearance was very beautiful. It was hard to imagine that this was designed by a delicate beauty. Let's give it a try. It should be able to help you use the nirvana stage. Because of the materials, it can condense a very strong energy. Dongfang Xinyue wiped his sweat and looked at the large piece of vermilion bird bone. This would allow them to refine many powerful things, but only Chen Xiang could melt and cut them off. This was also what made them feel depressed. After binding it with blood, Chen Xiang held onto the death-haunting arrow. He secretly channeled his energy, causing the ground to slightly tremble, but very quickly it calmed down. Chen Xiang had released the dragon power, and upon its appearance, the strong energy would immediately create a huge pressure, but it was quickly absorbed by the death-haunting arrow, condensing the dragon power into a black qi arrow. Although it looked like there was no qi, Chen Xiang could feel its power. This is the dragon power? Dongfang Xinyue's beautiful eyes flashed with a surprised light. As she was practicing the legendary Taiji dragon suppressed kung fu, the person who could use the same kind of power as a dragon was extremely surprised. Only wanted to test if he could condense his dragon power. After seeing that it could be condensed, he smiled in satisfaction. Thank you, sisters, for this bone as a reward. He took out the green dragon demon-slain broadsword and cut it in half. We can't cut it and we can't melt it. What's the use of saying that we have to come? Would you like to see it? Lu Meng'er muttered. Looking once again at Chen Xiang's green dragon demon-slain broadsword, Dongfang Xinyue was able to discern something. This blade was extremely powerful, especially those small spirit grain that were flickering on top. Chen Xiang took out 2 pearls that were filled with flames. These were the heaven fire that Chen Xiang had condensed over the past 2 days, and they were all compressed in here by him. Chen Xiang took out 2 pearls that were filled with flames. These were the heaven fire that Chen Xiang had condensed over the past 2 days, and they were all compressed in here by him. When it melts, use my flame. When you cut it, wrap it around your weapon. It should be enough for you to use it for a long time. Chen Xiang threw the 2 pearls out. The 2 girls anxiously and carefully caught it. Chen Xiang's flame was not strong, but it could melt the bones that made them feel helpless. But this flame looked very normal and nothing special. When Chen Xiang was questioned about it, he also mysteriously refused to speak of it, causing the 2 girls to be extremely curious. If the refining treasure book find me, come find me. I will be in the super martial school. I will try this. Chen Xiang shook the death-haunting arrow in his hand. After Chen Xiang left, Dongfang Xinyue was filled with doubts. Menger, the husband of your disciple is really amazing. The blade in his hand is no ordinary thing? Have you ever borrowed it? Dongfang Xinyue played with the fire-gathering pearl that Chen Xiang gave her. Although the fire inside wasn't very strong, it could melt those bones, which made it hard for her to understand. Warm Moon, this brat has a lot of secrets. Although I know a little, without his permission, I cannot speak carelessly. Please forgive me. Lu Menger said. Dongfang Xinyue smiled lightly. It's all right, hurry up and unravel the secret inside the refining treasure book. This little scoundrel actually wants you to be her slave. Too bad, you have to be careful. Lu Menger pouted. Dongfang Xinyue's jade face reddened, and she nodded while laughing. He's indeed a bad boy. Chen Xiang's whereabouts were extremely secretive, and he had also mastered a very powerful body transformation technique. If he wanted to hide, no one would be able to find him, so he was not worried about the 10 billion bounty at all. Now that he had returned to the Heavenly Emperor City, he had even changed into that Dongfang Rong's appearance. He was strutting about in the city, and no one would suspect him in the slightest. The Eastern Profound Realm was already sealed up. All the clan elders had been in closed doors training ever since they returned from the super martial school. They even stopped expanding because they knew that they were not the strongest in this new world. Chen Xiang came back to find Dongfang Profoundlong. He felt that this guy was the best candidate for the test, but he couldn't find him. Captain, why are you still here? A patrolman said in surprise when he saw Chen Xiang. Why can't I be here? Chen Xiang purposely had a gloomy face, scaring the soldier so much that he varied. The appearance of a treasure light in the continent of the king is possible because I heard that it's the birth of a treasure. Strange flowers, strange plants, treasures, or even immortal beasts from the sky. In short, young Master Dongfang has brought a group of people with him. That soldier hastily replied. Even in this new world, the continent of the king was the largest continent. Adding the devil-subduing college, Fire Divine Palace and the vain martial cultivators above, these 3 powers made the continent of the king very famous. Chen Xiang had been staying with the 2 beauties for the past 2 days, so he naturally did not know anything about what was happening outside. After hearing the news, he hurriedly said through the transmission array and arrived at continent of the king. The Fire Divine Palace was originally very famous in other worlds, and there were also many branch halls. After all the worlds had been fused together, the Devil-Subduing College and the Fire Divine Palace would become the headquarters, and the frequency of using the transmission array was also the highest. There were people everywhere from the Fire Divine Palace to the Devil-Subduing College, especially a lot of people from the Devil-Subduing College, because even if they joined other sects, they could still enter the Devil-Subduing College to learn the demon-subduing martial arts, so they had the largest number of people. Adding the fact that the Great War between 3 realms was about to arrive, even some of the Nirvana stage were shamelessly staying in the academy with a group of brats to listen to their teacher and learn the demon-subduing martial arts. It was not easy for them to plunder the Fire Soul, if not for the fact that people with Fire Soul were keeping a low profile, then there would be a few strong cultivators. There were many refiners in the Alchemist, and if they dared to act recklessly right now, it would be very troublesome. Was a little surprised to find that treasure light after some inquiry. It was actually in the Bloody Thunder Mountain Sea, which was one of the great dangers of the continent of the king. When he and Hua Xiangyue had first entered, he had encountered a great danger. There is a super old sacred land inside there, and there is a dragon inside the super old sacred land. However, even if that dragon comes out, there's nothing to be afraid of. With this many experts in this new world, this dragon will be the safest to hide in. Chen Xiang laughed. As expected, numbers make more strength. The most frightening thing in the BLOODY Thunder Mountain Sea was not the Shuelei beastmen and Shuelei beasts that were filled with poison, but the type of Shuelei that was everywhere without any pattern, to the point where even the Nirvana stage was afraid of them. If it was in the past, Chen Xiang would probably be worried, but now, he had nothing to be afraid of. His body was so strong. He still wanted to give the Shuelei a hack to see how strong it was. Because a treasure light had appeared in the BLOODY Thunder Mountain Sea, a transmission array had been established in the city of the king. Even without the transmission array, Chen Xiang could use that Luotian gate to directly go to the center of the BLOODY Thunder Mountain Sea. As for him, he was only here to test the death-haunting arrow. At the same time, he wanted to see what other powerful people were inside. The sky above the BLOODY Thunder Mountain Sea was filled with dense lightning bolts that rained down like a torrential rain, enveloping the entire BLOODY Thunder Mountain Sea. Many people had set up tents outside the BLOODY Thunder Mountain Sea, waiting for the lightning rain to end before entering to investigate what was happening. Amongst the crowd, Chen Xiang suddenly caught a glimpse of a very HI plus New York bald head flash. HI plus-ing along with the blood lightning in the distance. Chen Xiang squeezed through the crowd and came to the side of the bald man. One look and sure enough, it was Xiao Chou. Many people were watching the countless red lightning bolts in the sky, hoping to disappear quickly, and it was an extremely spectacular sight. So when everyone was watching, Chen Xiang suddenly extended his hand and patted Xiao Chou's little bald head hard. Xiao Chou was enraged. He turned his head and roared, "Who dares to hit me?" The crowd looked at each other. Chen Xiang had acted extremely quickly, and no one could see who moved the hand. Moreover, no one could hear the sound of the claps of thunder in the distance. Chen Xiang had already become that Dongfang Rong, and even his aura was extremely real. Of course Xiao Chou wouldn't be able to recognize him. Seeing the young man's bald head looking angry, but having no place to vent it out, Chen Xiang couldn't hold back his laughter. Xiao Chou clenched his fists tightly and glared at everyone. After being taught by Chen Xiang, he had become extremely obedient. If it was the past, the people around him would have all been beaten to the point of looking for teeth, with bruises all over. The moment Xiao Chou turned around, when he wasn't paying attention, Chen Xiang's hand flashed like lightning and fiercely slapped that HI plus New York bald head. "Who the F K hit my head? Come out if you have the gut. Don't sneak around." Xiao Chou roared again, causing Chen Xiang to almost laugh out loud. However, Long Shui had already laughed to the point where he had no heart and no lungs. Everyone felt Xiao Chou's terrifying aura and inwardly, they were angry. Who would use such a childish method to tease the bald youth? In order to prevent Xiao Chou's anger from burning into his body, everyone scattered. In order to prevent Xiao Chou's anger from burning into his body, everyone scattered. Xiao Chou scratched his head, and turned to look at the people around him. His eyes that was BRIMMING with anger stared straight at everyone's face. He wanted to find out who the suspect was from the crowd, and be toyed with like that in his eyes was an insult. "Baldy, look here." Chen Xiang suddenly came to his back, and then fiercely slapped that bright skull. "BASTARD, I'll kill you." Xiao Chou saw who it was and shouted loudly, throwing a punch at Chen Xiang, but Chen Xiang surprisingly dodged it. After that, he quickly said by Xiao Chou and slapped him. Chen Xiang laughed. D.A.M.N. Baldy, how can you be so powerful? Xiao Chou was enraged. He stomped his feet fiercely, causing the ground to shake. Everyone was startled and quickly retreated. They could see that a battle was about to break out. Chen Xiang's feet slipped, but he did not rush towards Xiao Chou. Instead, he ran towards the side. Coward, don't run! Xiao Chou roared and chased closely after him. No one expected the bald youth to be so powerful. He looked young, but his voice was loud and his strength was strong. Chen Xiang changed back into his original form as he ran. He only stopped when he entered a forest and turned around when he saw Xiao Chou's strong and violent fist flying towards him. Chen Xiang grabbed onto the fist, the powerful force exploding outwards, but was dissolved by Chen Xiang's Taiji dragon-suppressed kung fu. Master! Seeing that it was Chen Xiang, Xiao Chou curled his lips. I should have long thought that you're the only one who would be so bored. Little Baldy, your Baldy is too eye-catching. I can't help but want to hit him. Chen Xiang laughed. Why did you come here to join in the fun? Xiao Chou rolled his eyes. I'm here to gain experience, master. Didn't you come as well? I'm here to hunt. Chen Xiang laughed. What hunt? Xiao Chou knew that by following Chen Xiang, he could always do some very exciting things. Are you afraid to enter the B-L-O-O-D-Y Thunder Mountain Sea right now? Chen Xiang smiled slightly. We'll leave then. Of course Xiao Chou wasn't afraid. What's more, there was still Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang brought Xiao Chou and walked into the B-L-O-O-D-Y Thunder Mountain Sea that was filled with red lightning. There were countless gigantic mountains inside, and these gigantic mountains were also suffering from the attacks of lightning, but these gigantic mountains were able to absorb the lightning energy and then channel it into the earth, allowing this entire B-L-O-O-D-Y Thunder Mountain Sea to give birth to a unique type of spirit energy. Thus, the spirit beasts inside were all very strong, as they cultivated this kind of Shuelei energy. Everyone did not expect the little Baldy, who was shouting and fighting just now, to actually follow someone else into the B-L-O-O-D-Y Thunder Mountain Sea, which was filled with terrifying Shueleis. Right now, it was extremely dangerous. People with normal brains would not even go in. After entering, through his sharp senses, Chen Xiang was able to avoid the attacks of the Shuelei. If he were to strike down, he would use the heaven-blasting palm to blast away the Shuelei that was condensed with great power. The remaining thunder power would become his energy after drilling into his body. Xiao Chou, how long have you been here? Chen Xiang asked. He had come here to look for Dongfang Profound Long. I came in very early, but I was waiting for the right time to go in, because after such a dense amount of Shuelei appeared, there would be a lot of lightning beasts. I came in to find some lightning beasts to gain experience, so I needed to increase my strength. Xiao Chou said in a serious tone. Right now, I am at least in the middle stage of the 100 refining realm. You will have to go to Nirvana stage, then wouldn't that Farserpa SS me? Chen Xiang exclaimed. Of course, I'm a rare genius in the great strength race. Although Master was stronger than me before, I don't know for sure in the future. Xiao Chou said very naturally. Chen Xiang patted his bald head. I've gotten sick again, just you wait, I definitely won't be outdone by you, don't forget, I am an alchemist. I am speaking. If everything goes smoothly, it won't take more than half a year. I am already a great strength race warrior. Xiao Chou said in an arrogant tone. If Xiao Chou stepped into the Nirvana stage, it would not be so simple for Chen Xiang to win. After all, the Nirvana stage was a half-immortal cultivator, and after crossing 9 tribulations, he would become a deity. By the way, did you see the Dongfang family come in? Chen Xiang knew that the people of the Dongfang family were very high-profile when they were traveling. It could be seen from their clothes. I see. Many people from the Dongfang family, Devil Subduing College, and the Fire Divine Palace have entered. Moreover, they were the earliest ones. Xiao Chou said. The number of shui in the sky started to decrease. After more than 2 hours had said, the BLOOD, Thunder Mountain Sea had returned to its original state. Aolo! A series of beast roars echoed throughout the mountain range. He's here. Xiao Chou suddenly became agitated, while Chen Xiang was already flying towards the direction of the voice. Chen Xiang released the Heaven Tour method, and with his fastest speed, rushed towards the direction of the roar, and very quickly, he saw a group of people surrounding and attacking a double-headed lion, whose body was covered in blood-red lightning aura. The shui double-headed lion is very famous in BLOODY Thunder Mountain Sea. It is a type of lightning beast with a lot of breeds and is the strongest profound beast with a lot of them. However, that group of people were from 2 different forces and they were arguing right now. What surprised Qin Xiang was that one of the people on one side was from the Beast Martial School, and he even saw a beautiful figure, Yan Yanran. From the contents of their argument, Chen Xiang knew that because they had discovered the shui double-headed lion at the same time, and because they had chased it for a long time, in the end, the shui double-headed lion was killed by Beast Martial School, but they did not recognize the other side. Brat, in a bit, it's not a lightning beast that's going to be hit, but a human. Prepare yourself. Chen Xiang snickered. Who are you hitting? Xiao Chou immediately became excited. It seems to be a disciple from the Thunder Heaven School. Chen Xiang had never heard of Lei Tian, so he did not know how strong these disciples were. Thunder Heaven School. I know, it's one of the top 10 sects in the New World, ranked 3rd. Xiao Chou said. Then what is our Super Martial School's rank? Chen Xiang was curious. There's no ranking. It seems to be the Dongfang families. The top 10 are the Dongfang family's first place. But this Thunder Heaven School must have some power, otherwise he would have already been scolded to death by someone with that ranking. Then let's go take a look and see how strong the 3rd-ranked sect in this new world is. Chen Xiang sneered. There were only 4 people in the Beast Martial School, but there were more than 10 in the Thunder Heaven School. This is obviously our spoils of war. Why should we split half of it with you? Yan Yanran's cold and angry voice was crisp and echoed within the mountains. This is obviously our spoils of war. Why should we split half of it with you? Yan Yanran's cold and angry voice was crisp and echoed within the mountains. We've chased for so long, if this beast wasn't afraid of us, it wouldn't have run for its life. We used up a lot of its energy so you can easily kill it. A handsome man from Thunder Heaven School said. Don't try to argue with us, we discovered that the shui double-headed lion was fighting against this beast long ago, and only ran away if we couldn't win against it, and only when we were chasing after it did we run into you guys. What does it have to do with you? Although Yan Yanran and the others did not have many people, they did not want to be at a disadvantage. The man from the Thunder Heaven School sneered, and made a hand gesture. The 10-plus people immediately surrounded Yan Yanran and the others. After Chen Xiang saw this from afar, he took out a death-haunting arrow and shot it at one of the Thunder Heaven School's. The black crossbow bolts silently flew over as fast as light. However, the energy gathered on them wasn't too strong. The arrow pierced through the thigh of a Thunder Heaven School man, causing him to let out a howl. Who is the Sin? The Thunder Heaven School man was immediately shocked. To be able to silently pierce through his thigh, it was similarly able to pierce through a person's head. Was very satisfied with just one arrow being able to achieve such a result. Chen Xiang and Xiao Chou slowly walked out. Chen Xiang sneered. Thunder Heaven School, right? Did you two rely on your numbers to steal someone's things? Seeing that Chen Xiang had arrived, Yan Yanran was ecstatic and anxiously said, That's right, they are like that, a sect that is ranked 3rd in a new world, it seems to be nothing more than dog s. Hi+T. Chen Xiang. When Chen Xiang was offered a bounty of 10 billion, it was known to many that his portrait was owned by almost everyone. The people of Thunder Heaven School quickly took out the bounty token from the storage magic treasure to compare. It was exactly the same. That's right, I'm Chen Xiang. The 10 billion spar are right here. If you have the guts, come and take it. Chen Xiang laughed faintly, not the slightest bit afraid. To these warriors whose cultivations were not even in the nirvana stage, 10 billion spar s was a huge sum of money. Even the nirvana stage would be moved by it. Chen Xiang was far more precious than the Shui twin-headed lion that was lying on the ground. The disciples of the Thunder Heaven School immediately looked at Chen Xiang with greedy and malicious eyes. The person who got the 10 billion bounty from the Dongfang family, he should be an unpardonable scoundrel. Attack! The leading man shouted. You bunch of hypocrites! If you want to kill him, then come over here and find an excuse. Chen Xiang said in disdain as he looked at Xiao Chou. Xiao Chou's fists were covered with a golden glow. Seeing that Chen Xiang had nodded in agreement, he stomped his feet hard, and the ground actually cracked. When Chen Xiang appeared, everyone's attention was focused on him, and they directly ignored the bald man, Xiao Chou. However, they were currently shocked by his strength. Just as everyone was in shock, Xiao Chou had already flashed into the encirclement of the Thunder Heaven School disciples, and actually walked right into their trap. However, Chen Xiang was not the least bit worried. If you want to kill my master, you have to pass through me first. Xiao Chou roared. He leapt and descended from the sky, a strange divine power suddenly emerging from his palm. It made people feel as though there was a huge mountain pressing down on them. When Xiao Chou's palm struck down, the range of the palm's power was very wide, and the strong pressure caused the cover to press down. Two people were actually smashed deep into a pulp, their flesh and blood mixed together with the shattered ground, making them look extremely bloody. With such little strength, you want to take my master's head? Xiao Chou thought that the other side would try to resist, but instead, like a tofu bean, he was slapped flat. Chen Xiang had a disciple of the great strength race. That was something many people knew. However, Xiao Chou gave off the impression that he was a brat, and that he wasn't that strong. After Xiao Chou killed the two disciples from the Thunder Heaven School, like a berserk leopard, he rushed towards the other person. Samazed. Ing his fist out, he instantly broke through that person's defensive chi-s. Eld and shattered all the bones in his chest. This young man's head was so berserk, shocking everyone present. Even Yen Yenran had her beautiful eyes opened wide. You bunch of scum. It wasn't that Xiao Chou was too strong, it was just that these people were too weak. When Xiao Chou attacked, he used his full strength. If his disciple was so powerful, then what about his master? The people of Thunder Heaven School were extremely frightened. They did not dare to take the head of their master, and immediately ran for their lives. Seeing that someone wanted to escape, Chen Xiang frowned. A bolt of lightning suddenly struck down from the sky. He was already able to use his own mana to control the lightning element innate chi in his body, and create a bolt of lightning in the air. When one's magic power was strong, they could summon the wind and summon the rain. Summoning lightning was also an easy task. If you want to take my head, you have to have some ability. Chen Xiang laughed coldly. The lightning had struck him like crazy, and anyone could tell that he was the one who created the purple lightning. However, no one could feel the aura he was releasing. After being struck by the purple lightning, his entire body would only be paralyzed for a short while, and then he would leave it to Xiao Chou to deal with. Leave two people alive and tell them to scram back to the Thunder Heaven School. This is the result of bullying any of our sections. Chen Xiang warned her. Xiao Chou did as he was told, leaving the two of them to run back and then pat his hands. What third sect? If it's a battle between the younger generation, our super martial school will definitely not lose. Yen Yenran hurriedly thanked Chen Xiang and the others. On the way here, he found out about the dragon subduing school that Chen Xiang was talking about and knew that Yen Yenran was also his fellow sect member. We just came out. There were a lot of people going in at the beginning, but the number of people getting in became fewer and fewer. The people going in are all gone, and we didn't dare to go in. You guys should hurry up and leave this D.A.M. place. Yen Yenran advised. Of course Chen Xiang knew that it was strange. The super old sacred land in the middle had a dragon trapped inside. Xiao Chou, you and them will be outside fighting the thunder beasts. Go back when it's about time. I'll go in and take a look myself, Chen Xiang said in a heavy voice. Xiao Chou was originally here to give it a try, so he nodded his head and said, I understand, Master, be careful. Chen Xiang did not use the Luotian gate to open up some space to enter. If there was a huge change in the middle of super old sacred land, it would not be a wise decision for him to suddenly appear there. He told Long Shui to use the Heaven Tour method and go deeper into sea. Isn't this little brat Chen Xiang? Why is he here too? Lu Menger flew down from a mountain and followed behind her. C725. C725 Lu Menger was also surprised that Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue suddenly appeared. Previously, they said that it would take a while for them to solve the secret inside the refining treasure book. What are you doing here? Lu Menger avoided a shuelei and slowly floated down to Chen Xiang's side. Dongfang Xinyue followed closely behind, like two fairies that suddenly descended from the heavens. Looking for treasures? Could it be that you guys didn't know that a precious light appeared here, and that many people came here in search of treasures? Chen Xiang asked curiously. He had come here to watch the show, to find some powerful things to test the death-haunting arrow, but the two beauties did not seem to know about the appearance of the treasure. As expected, the two girls looked at each other and shook their heads. Dongfang Xinyue said gently, We have cracked the secrets inside the refining treasure book and obtained a map. Then, we will go to the continent of the king and enter the Bloody Thunder Mountain Sea. No wonder you all came from that direction. Could it be that the final target of the map is the center of Bloody Thunder Mountain Sea? Chen Xiang was shocked. Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue nodded at the same time. There's a super old sacred land in the middle with a dragon sealed inside, Chen Xiang said. Lu Menger also knew that he had told her when he and Hua Xiangyue had returned from the super old sacred land. That super old sacred land is very big, right? The map that we got was detailed on the route inside the super old sacred land, Lu Menger said. Chen Xiang shrugged his shoulders. There's a dragon inside. If I had the strength of all of you, I might be able to take him down. There's no need for you to worry. The warm moon has an array disk that is specially used to deal with dragons. Lu Menger laughed. I obtained an immemorial dragon subduing formation. I refined that formation into an array disk, which can be easily used. If it's not a critical moment, I normally do not use it because it consumes a lot of best spars. Dongfang Xinyue took out a snow-white disk that was as big as the table, and on it were many complicated spirit grains. An array disk was a type of array formation that could move very quickly. It was a special material that was refined by an array master and used to conveniently carry around. Normally, it was very useful and powerful because there were very few materials needed to create an array disk. Then let's go together. I've been here a few times, so I'm more familiar with this place. Chen Xiang also wanted to see what the super old sacred land was hiding. When Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue came, they were almost struck a few times. However, Chen Xiang had come a few times, making them to believe him, but they believed him very quickly, because they saw Chen Xiang's fist that was able to disperse and absorb the powerful blood-red light, so they were not afraid of this kind of shuelei at all. Previously, Yen Yenran had said that many people who went in had gone missing. This made Chen Xiang wonder if there was a problem with the seal dragon's array and people could go in. If that was really the case, then they would most likely be killed when they were attacked by the dragon. After pause, sing through the Thunder Mountain Sea, Chern Xiang and the others came to the central region. What's going on? Why has it changed so much? Previously, this place was filled with large trees, but now it has become a land. Chern Xiang looked around in shock. The center of the Thunder Mountain Sea was a very safe place with many ancient trees that reached into the sky. This was something that Chern Xiang had seen before. Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue quickly discovered something. They split into two different directions and walked one step at a time, looking at something on the GRA's before looking at the sky. There is indeed a very big illusion formation. It almost covers the entire center area, but this illusion formation is very ancient. Could it be an illusion formation that activates on its own? Lu Menger said. Now, Chern Xiang understood why all the people that Yen Yenran mentioned had disappeared and entered the illusion formation. In the middle of this illusion formation is the super old sacred land. Do you still want to enter? Chern Xiang asked. Of course we have to go in. We've all come here. As Dongfang Xinyue spoke, he stepped into the illusion array and disappeared. Chern Xiang and Lu Menger were shocked. They anxiously chased after him and went into the array. That's what I'm familiar with. Chern Xiang finally saw those huge ancient trees. It's hard to get out. Look at the back. Although Dongfang Xinyue said that, he did not look worried at all. Chern Xiang turned around to look. There was no Thunder Mountain Sea behind him. They were all thick and big trees. The people from the Dongfang family are coming over. Dongfang Lingyun, the three elders, and a group of people below Nirvana stage are here. Long Shui suddenly said. The people of the Dongfang family were all trapped here, but he wasn't too worried. Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue were not weak, and the two girls were both blacksmith. My two sisters, the people from the Dongfang family are coming, is also here. After Chern Xiang finished speaking, he immediately disappeared. He was indeed worried that he would drag them down, and when Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue wanted to take care of him, he would inevitably be distracted. Dongfang Xinyue frowned, her gentle voice was filled with anger. It's good that you are here, let's settle the score with this old fellow. Chern Xiang was hiding on a big tree in the distance, holding on to the death-haunting arrow. Although the distance between them was more than 300 meters, he could clearly see the two beauties wearing snow-white clothes. Not long after Chern Xiang left, a large group of people quickly walked over. Dongfang Lingyun and Dongfang Profound Long were walking in front, and when they discovered Dongfang Xinyue, they couldn't help but be shocked. As for the rest of the people from the Dongfang family, when they saw these two beauties suddenly appear here, they couldn't help but stare blankly. However, they immediately lowered their heads when they felt the power exuded from the two girls' bodies. Traitor! Dongfang Lingyun shouted angrily. He obviously knew that Dongfang Xinyue did not take the life vein away, because it was definitely not something that he could take away easily. Although he did not know why the life vein would disappear, it was a good opportunity to frame him. Old man, you said I'm a traitor. Why don't you take out the evidence? You think I'm a traitor just because of your old mouth? Although I don't really care about the Dongfang family, my contribution to the Dongfang family is definitely not less than yours. Dongfang Xinyue's jade face was filled with anger and grievance. Dongfang Xinyue was proficient in artifact forging and formation, and had contributed a lot in this area. So what? Take him down. Dongfang Lingyun said coldly. He also knew that the beautiful woman beside Dongfang Xinyue was not weak, but there were 4 of them. Once Lu Menger released the power of the ice wind, a layer of frost suddenly condensed on the surrounding trees. The cold wind howled, and the surrounding 100 meters were filled with snow ice. Seeing Lu Menger releasing such a strong cold chi, the elders all anxiously used their powers to block the cold chi that was attacking the weaker people on their side. Seeing Lu Menger releasing such a strong cold chi, The elders all anxiously used their powers to block the cold chi that was attacking the weaker people on their side. How dare you touch Warm Moon? Lu Menger's voice was filled with incomparable majesty and fury, and an even more intense cold chi was released from her voice, causing Dongfang Lingyun to feel somewhat fearful. Icewind Magic Kung Fu, you are Qin Martial Continent, Divine Weapons Heavenly Countries Lu Menger. Dongfang Lingyun had also done a very detailed investigation on the experts in the Qin Martial Continent. Humph! Lu Menger swept the three elders with his cold gaze, not a single bit afraid. Sensing the cold chi, Chen Xiang also Hi plus Vered, his crossbow arrow aimed at an elder who had suddenly stopped in his tracks. He poured his strongest power into the crossbow, dragon power and devil-suppressing holy power, and the two types of power merged together. Through the unique spirit grain above the death-haunting arrow, they transformed into a crossbow arrow made of black chi. He should be an elder who has survived the Nirvana tribulation. Let me see what kind of damage this death-haunting arrow can do to him. Chen Xiang released the arrow. The black arrow flew past soundlessly, but the elder sensed the power of the arrow and immediately released an innate chi barrier. When the arrow hit the innate chi barrier, it dissipated without a single ripple. This is the difference. Chen Xiang sighed. If the arrow had landed on the person who had survived the tribulation of Nirvana stage, it might have had some effect. However, it was like an egg striking a stone to the elder who had survived the tribulation of the eighth Nirvana. What kind of scoundrel dares to secretly attack someone? The elder roared in anger. Chen Xiang had a bright idea and quickly imitated his master Huang Jintian's voice and started to laugh crazily. You guys, if you don't dare to deal with Super Martial School, then you specifically came here to bully women, right? What's the difference between things like you and the demons in the demon realm? Hearing Huang Jintian's voice, the faces of Dongfang Lingyun and the three elders changed, and they anxiously brought their people to flee. Dongfang Profoundlong, let me give you a taste of my arrows. Chen Xiang aimed at Dongfang Profoundlong's thigh and shot an arrow. The strong arrow instantly pierced Dongfang Profoundlong's thigh, causing a burst of blood to blossom. Dongfang Profoundlong immediately let out a miserable scream. Seeing that, Dongfang Lingyun grabbed Dongfang Profoundlong and ran. In the blink of an eye, all the people from the Dongfang family had left. The ice around him started to melt as Chen Xiang walked over with a smile. These guys were almost killed by my master last time, but now they ran away when they heard my master's voice. Chen Xiang grinned. Who would know if they were killed in a place like this? Dongfang Lingyun and the others did not want to die in such a useless manner. Do you really hate Dongfang Profoundlong? Dongfang Xinyue asked. Of course, who told him to keep deceiving that little fool? Chen Xiang curled his lips and said. Of course, Dongfang Xinyue knew who that little fool was. He was her niece, Dongfang Jing. Oh right, why is this Dongfang Lingyun so concerned about Dongfang Profoundlong's life and death? Chen Xiang had betrayed his father, so he might betray Dongfang Lingyun in the future as well. Dongfang Profoundlong possesses the bloodline of the patriarch, so the patriarch can only be inherited by our bloodline. Otherwise, the Dongfang family will meet with misfortune. This is the teachings of our ancestors. Dongfang Xinyue sighed. But who would have known, my brother's two sons are both this kind of people. Dongfang Yao stole the ancestral treasure, killed his teachers and escaped. I want to kill them too. Lu Menger said. Why didn't you kill Dongfang Profoundlong with one arrow just now? Chen Xiang shook her head. I was worried that Warm Moon Big Sis would feel uncomfortable, so I thought it was better not to. The people from the Dongfang family had been searching for a way out of this place the entire time. It seemed like those who had entered were all trapped inside, and Dongfang Xinyue was a master of formations, so breaking this array was naturally not a problem for him, and Dongfang Lingyun felt extremely helpless. He was the most powerful person in the Dongfang family, but he was trapped here in this D.A.M. Ned place. Chen Xiang, why did you give this little idiot relive Dan to Jingjing? You've known her for a long time? Asked. She had heard from Lu Meng'er that Chen Xiang was a philanderer. She only knew how quickly Chen Xiang treated Dongfang Jing. I thought she was cute, so I gave it to her. The last time she pretended to be me in Heavenly Emperor City, I followed her and fought with her. I found out that she was easy to deceive and became friends with her. Chen Xiang said with a serious face, but his mind was thinking about the big rabbit on the stupid beauty's chest. She refused to believe that Chen Xiang did not take advantage of her. She was worried that if this were to continue, even Dongfang Xinyue would be killed by this little scoundrel. After arriving at the center, Chen Xiang took out the Luotian gate and asked with a serious expression, "Are you ready? There's an angry dragon inside. After being locked up for so many years, once we enter, he'll definitely attack us. I'm ready. I can use my formation plate at any time." She also wanted to see what that dragon looked like. There weren't many dragons in mortal realm, so there were even less who could see it. Lu Meng'er was also looking forward to it, but they did not know that Chen Xiang had already killed a very powerful boa dragon. What is this? When Dongfang Xinyue saw that the Luotian gate in Chen Xiang's hand had many miraculous spirit grain, she curiously and immediately brought her beautiful face closer. When Chen Xiang felt the intoxicating fragrance enveloping him, he couldn't help but turn around, and her lips actually touched Dongfang Xinyue's beautiful jade face. F. Dongfang Xinyue tenderly called out, covering her face with her hands, her face full of bashfulness as she looked at Chen Xiang. Her face was completely red, and her heart was thumping hard. Chen Xiang being able to kiss the beauty's face made him extremely happy, but he was extremely calm. In order to prevent Dongfang Xinyue from investigating further, he anxiously coughed twice. Cough cough, this is a powerful treasure that Senior gave me, are you ready? I will open a door and enter the super old sacred land. As the dimensional door opened, Dongfang Xinyue was quickly attracted by it. This kind of spatial-type treasure was extremely rare, and the refining process was extremely complicated as well. Let's go in together, because it will close in an instant. Chen Xiang did not wait for the two girls to react as he pulled their jade hands and entered the dimensional door. How could Lu Meng'er not see Chen Xiang taking advantage of others? Seeing Chen Xiang's guilty look, she secretly felt jealous, but now was not the time to speak. Entering the spatial gate, they appeared in a pile of ruins, where a burst of intense dragon aura could be felt. Dongfang Xinyue anxiously took out the array disc. Just then, a huge blue dragon flew over from the forest far away. Just as Dongfang Xinyue wanted to release the large array, the blue dragon flashed and turned into a middle-aged man dressed in blue. "Why is it you again? Brat, are you done yet?" That handsome middle-aged man pointed at Chen Xiang and shouted. The dragon did not attack, but had turned into a human instead. Long Yen shouted angrily and pointed at Chen Xiang. The dragon did not attack, but had turned into a human instead. Long Yen shouted angrily and pointed at Chen Xiang. "Brat, what tricks are you trying to pull this time? Every single time, you just have to come for a short period of time before leaving." The corner of Chen Xiang's mouth twitched. This was the third time he had entered, and every time he had not been caught by the dragon. He never expected that the dragon would be filled with grievances right now, and was currently scratching prison. "Big brother, this isn't your home. It's also a very important place. Every time I come, I have to avoid you. I feel helpless too." Chen Xiang laughed bitterly. Seeing the thing in Dongfang Xinyue's hands, the dragon said, "Is this thing used to deal with me?" Dongfang Xinyue and Lu Meng'er were also stunned. They never thought that Chen Xiang would actually be able to speak calmly to this angry dragon. They both wanted to laugh. Chen Xiang, this annoying brat, was even unable to endure a dragon. "That's right. If you don't attack us, I don't want to use it either," Dongfang Xinyue said. Although the dragon had turned into a single person and had no intention of attacking, she and Lu Meng'er were still on guard. In order to make this dragon fear him, Chen Xiang deliberately released the dragon power. Yo, dragon power! The middle-aged man was slightly shocked, and what surprised him was not only the dragon power, but also a strange aura, dragon-slaying qi. Dragon-slaying qi? Chen Xiang was a little puzzled. Long Shui said, after killing the dragon, and then by absorbing the dragon's pearl, this kind of aura will be condensed. Whatever you guys want, just don't disturb my cultivation. The dragon shook its head and leapt into the air, transforming into a blue dragon that flew into the forest. Chen Xiang stuck out his tongue. I didn't expect him to get scared from me. This is a profound realm, and it's very big. Dongfang Xinyue immediately took out the map and looked for the direction with Lu Meng'er. Chen Xiang actually wanted to find the dragon and talk to it, to see if he could take it, but that was a little unrealistic. He was currently very weak, and felt that he had to win against the dragon. It's very dangerous inside here. There are some places even I don't dare to go to. From the forest came the voice of the dragon. We're already here, let's go take a look first. If we really can't handle the danger, we can come back later. Dongfang Xinyue said, and Lu Meng'er nodded. You guys have to watch over me. I'm not as powerful as you guys. Chen Xiang spread his hands. Don't be modest. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to get here so smoothly. Lu Meng'er laughed and walked in front with Dongfang Xinyue. A beauty's trouble. Boy, don't be killed by these two women. Your future is limitless. Although the sound was not loud, Chen Xiang and the rest could hear it. It's worth dying with them, hee. Chen Xiang laughed. He was not too worried. After leaving the ruins, Chen Xiang and the two girls found out that they were originally at the top of a huge mountain. Originally, Lu Meng'er wanted to take out the Jade Lotus Frisbee, but there was a strange power in the air that forcefully suppressed the flying Jade Lotus Frisbee. Chen Xiang lightly jumped up into the air. After jumping up into the air, he also felt the sudden pressure, and then, as if he had been ruthlessly smashed by a huge hammer, he fell heavily onto the ground. Now, he knew how impressive that dragon was to be able to fly around. Even Lu Meng'er, Dongfang Xinyue and the others could easily fly around. Let's just obediently walk over. Chen Xiang also looked at the map. The place was still very far away and this was a very big profound realm. It was also at the center of the continent of the king. However, he suddenly recalled his promise with Elder Dan. If he was unable to make it on time, he would definitely be despised to death by Elder Dan. He hurriedly took out the Luotian gate, but after trying, he was unable to open the spatial door. Not a small one. Dongfang Xinyue looked at the sky. That's right, there are many powerful formations that cover this profound realm. Lu Meng'er praised. To be able to create such a huge array, not only would all the powerful array masters work together, they would also be set up by a very powerful individual. Hurry up, I still have a date. If I can't make it, I will die. Chen Xiang anxiously shouted. What date? Lu Meng'er asked curiously. Chen Xiang rarely had such a worried expression. Anyway, I missed it. I will be very miserable. Chen Xiang knew that the Elder Dan had a bad temper. Lu Meng'er thought of Huang Jintian and did not ask any more. That old madman truly scared people. The three of them increased their pace and started running on the ground. However, Chen Xiang was pulled by two women because he was too slow. Fortunately, his physical body was very strong and was able to withstand the pressure of such a fast sprint. Climbing over many mountains, passing through a large forest, and leaping over a marsh filled with foul air, he was chased by a few groups of demon beasts on the way and finally arrived at his destination. It was a huge lake that was dried up. The map showed that this place was originally made of water. Lu Meng'er brought Chen Xiang to the bottom of the dried-up lake, and looked at the map, looking for some markings. Soon, they found a box that looked like it was made of mud at the bottom of the lake. There really is a treasure, Chen Xiang shouted excitedly. It had been many years since someone last came here, and this was something that had existed since the primordial era. Dongfang Xinyue walked over and gently caressed the box that was covered with the weathered soil. The soil outside immediately cracked and a box that looked like it was made of green jade appeared, releasing a faint green light. Dongfang Xinyue used both hands to carry it. It looked very light, so she walked towards Chen Xiang and Lu Meng'er. Let's open it and see what's inside. Dongfang Xinyue's face was full of excited smiles, causing her jade face to turn red, making her look extremely enchanting. Just as Lu Meng'er extended his hand out, he was grabbed by Chen Xiang. Let me do it. Chen Xiang's impenetrable. If there was extremely poison inside, these two beauties definitely wouldn't be able to endure it, but he wasn't afraid. Whether it was the poisonous blood of the poisonous dragon or the strange poisonous magical corruption gas, they had no effect on him. Seeing Chen Xiang's eyes filled with worry, Lu Meng'er felt a warm feeling in his heart and nodded. When Chen Xiang opened the cover, there was a thick book inside. There was no poison aura, but an extremely oppressive cold qi had suddenly attacked them, and the dried-up lake had suddenly turned into a world of ice and snow. The surroundings were filled with gigantic ice mountains. It was as if they had been teleported to another place, a world of ice and snow filled with cold. This is an illusory magic array? Lu Meng'er looked around, feeling the bone-piercing cold wind that was so real it was hard for her to confirm. Chen Xiang and Lu Meng'er were suddenly struck by the frigid coldness, and their entire bodies s.h.i plus varied. Fortunately they possessed the fire soul. The fire energy released by it was able to dispel the severe cold. Chen Xiang and Lu Meng'er were suddenly struck by the frigid coldness, and their entire bodies s.h.i plus varied. Fortunately they possessed the fire soul. The fire energy released by it was able to dispel the severe cold. Warm moon. Lu Meng'er saw Dongfang Xinyue fall all of a sudden and could not help but be shocked. Even an expert like Dongfang Xinyue could be struck down by this kind of cold energy. It could be seen that this ice and snow was not simple. Lu Meng'er anxiously released the hot air and poured it into Dongfang Xinyue's body, allowing her to gradually recover. However, her face was completely pale and her body was trembling. Dongfang Xinyue was a master refiner. Even though she did not have a fire soul, her flames were not weak. It's so cold, the fire innate qi in my body has been completely frozen. Dongfang Xinyue's delicate body trembled nonstop, causing her to have no choice but to instill more heat into her. Right now, I am just like ordinary people. I cannot use the innate qi at all. Dongfang Xinyue was suddenly terrified, and suddenly lost his strength. This was a nightmare for every ranker. Lu Meng'er had this experience before. She looked at Chen Xiang for help, and although Chen Xiang's strength was weaker than theirs, Chen Xiang had always been their savior. What about the bone I gave you last time? Take it out and sit on it. It'll be fine. Chen Xiang knew that the icy cold power was very powerful. If he did not have the heaven fire soul, even his strong body would not be able to hold on. Dongfang Xinyue anxiously took out the vermilion bird bone from his storage ring, and with Lu Meng'er's support, he climbed up and sat on top of it. The vermilion bird bone was indeed the bones of the Inferno Divine Bird, allowing Dongfang Xinyue to quickly recover. I almost froze to death. These bones are really good stuff. Dongfang Xinyue gently caressed the vermilion bird bone as he praised. Dongfang Xinyue was now sure that Chen Xiang also possessed a fire soul, and it was a very powerful one as well, otherwise nothing would happen in this strange world of ice and snow. She was a warrior who had to undergo 8 tribulations in Nirvana tribulations, but because she did not have a martial spirit, she was almost frozen to death. It seems like there's a mechanism within this box. Something like this happened the moment it was opened. Is this a type of test? Chen Xiang took out the book from the chest. This is the secret we sought from afar. Chen Xiang handed the book over to Lu Meng'er, and after Lu Meng'er received it, he read it together with him. As the two girls watched, their eyes couldn't help but widen. Their beautiful faces were filled with excitement, and after Chen Xiang shouted a few times, they both gave up and sunk deep into their hearts. Chen Xiang couldn't help but look and know that the book in the book was one of the array spirit grain S. The place we are in right now is indeed an illusion formation, called the Great Formation of the Freezing Sky. The terrifying icy cold power is not an illusion, but it's an illusion created by the Great Formation. Only the things we see here are illusions, and if we can't break it, we can't escape. Dongfang Xinyue frowned. The method to deactivate the formation is in this book. This book contains many powerful formation methods, as well as a large amount of knowledge and experience in refining immortal equipment. There are even a divine artifact. Lu Meng'er's chest rose and fell, looking extremely excited. This was actually such a powerful book. Chen Xiang was extremely shocked. He guessed that the refining treasure book was just a small part of this book. How long will it take to break the formation? I still have a date. Chen Xiang anxiously shouted. If he stayed here for a year or so, he would be scolded to death by the elder Dan when he returned. We are currently looking for a way to break through the array. There is a method to arrange the array, but there are some other unknown array formations mixed in. According to the book, the nameless array formations are also in this book, but there are too many large and small array formations in this book. It's very difficult to find them. Lu Meng'er now felt that it was extremely difficult. Let's take a look at the array foundation first, Dongfang Xinyue said. Chen Xiang also moved his head closer to the formation base. He wanted to see what the heavenly winter magic array looked like, but he couldn't understand it, because there was only a circle drawn on top of the book, and suddenly, there were many dense and messy little spirit grain S inside. If he were to look carefully, however, these spirit grain S had a certain pattern, and it would take a lot of effort for him to understand them. Chen Xiang also had a certain level of foundation for array formations, but he was completely confused by what he saw. No wonder these two beauties were thinking about it so hard. Dongfang Xinyue could not leave the vermilion bird bone. He could only drag the dragon bone away. He could not let Lu Meng'er drag it away, as there might be dangers inside, as Lu Meng'er was his only fighter. Dongfang Xinyue was like a big boss right now, making her feel extremely embarrassed. As said. On the way there, she gently asked Chen Xiang if he had worked hard. It should be here. Lu Meng'er, compared to this book, looked around him. Even though he was surrounded by a vast expanse of white ice, and her could determine that. Suddenly, the surrounding scenery changed again. At this moment, the coldness was even more intense. However, the three of them were still able to withstand it. Just now, they seemed to have triggered another mechanism of the array, causing them to be at the top of a very high ice mountain. Just now, they seemed to have triggered another mechanism of the array, causing them to be at the top of a very high ice mountain. This kind of powerful illusion was something that even Long Shui, who had a very strong soul, couldn't see through. Chen Xiang turned his head to look, and the surrounding scenery suddenly changed, allowing him to appear in a beautiful valley that was filled with the chirping of birds and the fragrance of flowers. Elder Sister Meng'er, where is Sister Warm Moon? Chen Xiang was sitting on the GRASS, elegantly combing his jet-black hair. Dongfang Xinyue had already disappeared. She went to break the formation and told me to stay behind to protect you. Lu Meng'er charmingly smiled at Chen Xiang, his cheeks turning cherry red, making Chen Xiang feel like he was intoxicated by the sight. If not for the presence of Dongfang Xinyue, he would have long ago become intimate with Lu Meng'er, and this was a good thing. Seeing Lu Meng'er's charming and seductive appearance, Chen Xiang's heart twitched. He hurriedly walked over and hugged Lu Meng'er, allowing her to gently hold on to her fragrant lips and her sweet tongue that made him yearn for her for many days, and continued to suck. Little scoundrel, I missed you so much. As Lu Meng'er kissed her, she whispered to herself softly and hugged Chen Xiang even more tightly. As the two of them silently kissed in this beautiful valley, Dongfang Xinyue was still at the top of the mountain peak where the cold wind was howling. Looking at Chen Xiang and Lu Meng'er lingering in front of her, she couldn't help but be shocked, unable to believe that this was real, and her face couldn't help but turn slightly red. The confusion array. They had long since wanted to be like this with their lover. At this moment, deep within the great formation of infatuation, every single thought within their hearts would be as they wished. So they should be in their own fantasy now. Dongfang Xinyue's face became even redder. She did not expect herself to stop this pile of lovers from being intimate with each other. Chen Xiang and Lu Meng'er were indeed deep inside their hearts in their fantasies. That was why their surroundings became a beautiful little valley. Dongfang Xinyue, the one who was in their way, was also not here, so they could get close to each other. Heavens, what are they trying to do? No, I'm still here. Dongfang Xinyue's heart started beating wildly, her breathing became hurried, and her face turned even more red. Because Chen Xiang had already ripped off the hem of Lu Meng'er's clothes, and her bad hand was rubbing Lu Meng'er's snow-white rabbit. The pair of big white rabbits on Lu Meng'er's chest had already completely jumped out and was being kneaded by Chen Xiang's big hand. Their lips, on the other hand, sucked each other's lips, making sounds of honey being sucked in. The pair of big white rabbits on Lu Meng'er's chest had already completely jumped out and was being kneaded by Chen Xiang's big hand. Their lips, on the other hand, sucked each other's lips, making sounds of honey being sucked in. Waves of a delicate fragrance gushed out of Lu Meng'er's jade mouth along with a light groan, as if igniting Chen Xiang's evil fire, causing him to knead even more madly Lu Meng'er's sparkling snow peaks, and grip her pink lotus seeds. Dongfang Xinyue had long since noticed that Lu Meng'er was very close to her, but she didn't think that Chen Xiang would put her wife's master. She really did not expect that Lu Meng'er would actually fall for her. If she did not personally see the two of them being so intimate, she would not have believed that Chen Xiang, this brat, would actually be able to capture the heart of such a high and mighty female emperor. If this continues, they will definitely. At this moment, Dongfang Xinyue's mind was in a mess. She could not leave the vermilion bird bone, or else she would be frozen by the icy cold power. Chen Xiang and Lu Meng'er's lips finally parted. Just when Dongfang Xinyue was about to heave a sigh of relief, she saw Lu Meng'er's misty eyes filled with lust and knew that something even worse was about to happen. Chen Xiang began to kiss Lu Meng'er's jade neck, and then continued to kiss it. Inside the large array of emotions, Lu Meng'er was also extremely excited at the moment. Her soft bosom stood up slightly, and when she felt Chen Xiang sucking on it, she couldn't help but cry out. Looking at the chaotic scene, Dongfang Xinyue's face flushed red to her ears. She took a deep breath and anxiously flipped through the thick refining treasure book looking for a way to break the large array of emotions. Otherwise, Chen Xiang and Lu Meng'er would have done something even more embarrassing. At this time, it was also a test for Dongfang Xinyue. Lu Meng'er's intoxicating moans floated over, every single time striking against her soul. Fortunately she was a woman, but she only felt a little bit embarrassed. Found it. After a moment, Dongfang Xinyue's face was filled with joy as she looked at the place that was filled with the color of spring. At this time, Chen Xiang was lovingly playing with Lu Meng'er's beautiful snowy mountain, while Lu Meng'er was looking at him shyly. The duo's bodies were crazily magnified in the huge magic formation, causing them to do things they did not dare to do before. Meng'er is so big. How could she be casually toyed with by a man and even giving it back for him to bite? What am I thinking? Dongfang Xinyue's mind was in a mess. She could finally see Chen Xiang's ability once again, to obtain both his body and mind. Master and disciple. This brat was truly evil, Meng'er had said it before. So that's the meaning behind his words. We're doomed. Dongfang Jing, this little idiot, is definitely enchanted by him. As Dongfang Xinyue thought of this, she looked around and very quickly sensed that there was a very weak power in the distance. This is the source of power of the Great Formation. It should be enough to destroy it. Had already taken off Lu Menger's clothes from the upper half of his body, and the cherry blossom on the snowy peak was in her mouth. With a wave of her hand, the innate chi of fire that was condensed from the snow fell onto the source of the energy. Boom! Chen Xiang and Lu Menger suddenly felt a little cold. The beautiful valley had already disappeared, but Lu Menger suddenly became much more clear-headed, and when she turned her head to look, she saw Dongfang Xinyue looking at them with a flushed face. This made Lu Menger's beautiful face immediately flush red. Just as Chen Xiang was feeling satisfied, Lu Menger pinched his waist and made Chen Xiang shout out loud. He suddenly saw the scenery around him, saw Dongfang Xinyue sitting on the vermilion bird bone, and quickly realized what had happened. Only now did Lu Menger hurry up and put on her clothes, and hide her arrogant and tempting Shuangfeng. Warm Moon, you! Didn't you go to break the formation? Lu Menger blushed and lowered his head, asking with a low voice. Dongfang Xinyue turned his head around because Chen Xiang was currently staring at her, causing her to feel an inexplicable sense of fear. I just broke it, or otherwise. Chen Xiang was not that shy. After all, he had gotten addicted to it, but unfortunately he did not continue. Then you saw it all? Chen Xiang pretended to be embarrassed, said. Dongfang Xinyue lightly nodded his head. Even though I don't know how you all managed to get away with it, I won't tell anyone else. Chen Xiang coughed a few times. Sisters, you two better hurry up and break the array, if not who knows what will happen next. It was possible for anything. Dongfang Xinyue was also worried that he would fall into an even more dangerous array. Maybe he would become like Lu Menger and her. Little scoundrel, it's useless no matter how we call you out just now, you're really into it. Su Meiyao's voice carried jealousy. Although she knew that Chen Xiang and Lu Menger were already close, she did not object. But when she looked, she could not help but feel a little uncomfortable. If it was you, I would have also invested. Chen Xiang laughed dumbly. Humph. Dongfang Xinyue said. This is the array foundation. As long as we sense the source of the array's energy, we can destroy it and break it. The formation earlier was the same, but the formation is rather simple and crude, thus I was able to easily detect it. Chen Xiang looked at Dongfang Xinyue strangely, as if he was reprimanding him. Humph, little scoundrel, don't let your imagination run wild. Lu Menger lightly pinched Chen Xiang and snorted. Of course she knew that Chen Xiang was blaming Dongfang Xinyue for spoiling his good fortune. Elder sister Menger Xianxian already knew about the relations Hi+P between you and I. She's not stupid, she knew it long ago. Chen Xiang curled his lips and said, What? She actually already knew about it. Lu Menger's eyes opened wide, her jade face flushed red again. Shui Xianxian had pretended that she did not realize it, which meant that she acknowledged him. She did not know how to face Shui Xianxian, which was why she had always had a stone in her heart, but now she did not need to worry at all. This sudden joy was accompanied by many complex emotions. Don't think too much into it. Let's first break the formation. Chen Xiang caressed her face and smiled. His smile was rather sinister, causing Lu Menger to spit on it. The source of the formation energy is nearby. There's a very weak spot. Once it's sensed, it can be destroyed and destroyed. Dongfang Xinyue said. He then flipped through the book and continued, Menger, come over here and take a look. Chen Xiang didn't know what to do now, so he could only lie on the ice and indulge in the fantasy while looking at the two beautiful girls. Chen Xiang didn't know what to do now, so he could only lie on the ice and indulge in the fantasy while looking at the two beautiful girls. Little scoundrel, you're so hungry. Do you want this dragon to help you? Long Shui suddenly laughed. Sure. Chen Xiang immediately replied. He had always been thinking about the young girl's complexion and the devilish body of a beautiful dragon. You wish, Long Shui teased. Wait for a day when this dragon is in a good mood. Maybe it can, hee. This little dragon girl's laughter was filled with boundless charm, causing Chen Xiang to be unperturbed in his heart. Without the blueprint for the array, I'm afraid we won't be able to find the base. However, even with the blueprint, it would be very difficult to find the weak point to break the array. Lu Meng'er said. The two girls continued to A.N. A lies the freezing sky illusion formation, but Chen Xiang had no choice but to condense a creation divine liquid. It would not be bad for him to have more of these things. After a few days, the two girls finally found the place that broke the formation through the complex array blueprint. That weakness was very small, only as big as a needle, but it was still found by them. I'm going to attack the eye of the formation. Prepare yourself, Lu Meng'er said. Using her powerful innate qi, she condensed a thin needle and waved it, releasing it out, piercing into the needle-sized weakness. They appeared at the bottom of the dried-up lake. However, Dongfang Xinyue's face was filled with pain, her face was pale white, and her cherry lips had turned a deep purple. It was obvious that she had been poisoned. Cold poison. The icy cold power in the great frozen cloud art had developed a type of cold poison, and after the great formation was broken through, it entered my body. Dongfang Xinyue said weakly. It looked like he was about to collapse. Bai Yuyu said anxiously. It's the ice soul devil poison from the demon world. This poison is only present under the magical corruption gas S, and it has a spiritual nature, which is used to seep into the bodies of those who do not have fire soul. Once someone dies from the poison, they will be able to devour the energy within their body and then slowly grow stronger. What should we do? Is there any hope? Chen Xiang asked anxiously. If my sister was here, perhaps there would be a way. Bai Yuyu suddenly shouted. Yes, let her fuse with the fire soul. Su Meiyao sighed lightly. Give her the purple fire soul that you extracted from Tai Ming. I don't have the use of it right now, and furthermore, I'm not worried that I won't need it in the future. Lu Meng'er's hand, which was holding Dongfang Xinyue's, was able to release a large amount of heat, but it was only able to alleviate for a bit. Chen Xiang took out the purple fire soul that contained the pearl. This purple fire soul was extremely expensive. He had originally planned to give it to Su Meiyao, but now that he wanted to use it to save people, he could only take it out. This is the purple fire soul. Elder Sister Meng'er, help her fuse it. Chen Xiang handed over the purple glowing pearl. Lu Meng'er was stunned. Chen Xiang actually carried this thing with him. This was the purple fire soul. Even in the heaven realm, it was enough for people to rob it from him. Dongfang Xinyue originally thought that she was dead for sure, but when she saw Chen Xiang take out the purple fire soul to save her, she was incomparably touched. She was very clear on the value of the purple fire soul, but Chen Xiang was very straightforward to use it to save her. Not only was he able to live, he was even able to obtain the fire soul that she yearned for day and night. Lu Meng'er smashed the bead, using his consciousness to control your tyrannical fire soul, and let it enter Dongfang Xinyue's body. Dongfang Xinyue knew that fusing with the fire soul would be extremely painful. If she had a choice in the past, she would rather endure 10 times the pain for the sake of obtaining the fire soul. You have experience with this. You should guide her to fuse with the fire soul. It is faster than trying to figure it out for herself. Chen Xiang came to Dongfang Xinyue's side and roughly pinched her tightly shut small mouth, then stuffed in a piece of earthly fruit. When fusing with the fire soul, the pain of eating a earthly fruit would lessen by a lot. Last time at the sacred Dan realm, Yun Zhu was like this when fusing with the earthly fruit. He wanted to confirm something. With regards to the experience of fusing with the fire soul, Chen Xiang was much more experienced than the two great beauties in the mortal realm. After eating the earthly fruit, Dongfang Xinyue no longer felt that much pain, but there was still some pain. When fusing with the fire soul, you still need to avoid any conflicts with the congenital kung fu soul in your body. The fire soul needs to be completely merged with you, including your soul, Chen Xiang said. Lu Meng'er began to recount her experiences while fusing with the fire soul, as well as some things that caught her attention. Dongfang Xinyue's speed of fusing with the fire soul was extremely fast, which was outside of Chen Xiang's expectations. S face was now very healthy, red and attractive, making people want to take a bite of him. Thank you, little scoundrel. Dongfang Xinyue laughed gently, his eyes full of gratitude. This fire soul is truly very precious, I really don't know how to repay you. Be my slave. Chen Xiang laughed. This made Lu Meng'er stomp his foot hard. Be more honest. Lu Meng'er glared at Chen Xiang with her beautiful eyes. Dongfang Xinyue smiled lightly, that charming smile was extremely intoxicating. If I become your female slave, Meng'er will definitely be jealous. Warm Moon, don't listen to this brat's nonsense. Lu Meng'er was a little worried that Dongfang Xinyue would agree. After all, there was Hua Xiangyue as a precedent and Chen Xiang was extremely mysterious. But I have to repay him. I can't take his fire soul for nothing. Dongfang Xinyue was really serious now, which made Chen Xiang's heart jump. He was joking to begin with, but if Dongfang Xinyue had agreed, he would have profited immensely, exchanging a fire soul for such a beautiful, powerful slave like her. It had to be known that when he obtained the fire soul, it was very easy, as he could make a lot more in the future. Ahem, I was just joking. Elder Sister Warm Moon, please don't take it seriously. Although Chen Xiang said that, he actually liked Dongfang Xinyue taking it seriously. He thought that if he could bring Hua Xiangyue and Dongfang Xinyue, the two beautiful female slaves, to serve him in the future, that feeling would explode from the bottom of his heart. Dongfang Xinyue was originally on the verge of death, suffering from the cold poison's torture. She was already in despair, but Chen Xiang suddenly saved her. Not only did she not die, she even received a purple fire soul. Dongfang Xinyue had deeply felt the true meaning of these words. She had started to understand why Lu Meng'er had been captured by this little scoundrel, Chen Xiang, both physically and mentally, because Chen Xiang was really capable. Master-servant contract, and it's a life and death contract. Long Shui suddenly shouted. A ray of white light shot out from between Dongfang Xinyue's brows, entering Chen Xiang's soul. Was stunned, Lu Meng'er was also extremely shocked. A contract was also a form of array. It was extremely strange, and master-servant contract was indeed the simplest but also the most powerful type of contract, especially this type of life and death contract. You gave me my life. From now on, let me protect you. Dongfang Xinyue smiled sweetly and called out, Master. Seeing the beautiful female slave being so obedient, Chen Xiang felt like he was dreaming. Seeing the beautiful female slave being so obedient, Chen Xiang felt like he was dreaming. This is too much of a joke. Chen Xiang took a deep breath. He could not believe that master-servant contract was real. Sometimes women would squirm and squirm, but when they were refreshed, they made people shocked, just like when Dongfang Xinyue was in his current state. Lu Meng'er only let out a light snort. It was already too late for her to stop him, so it was useless to say anything now. Master, although I'm your slave, that doesn't mean you can do anything to me. Dongfang Xinyue smiled gently. It was a smile that was extremely ambiguous. Master, don't bully this slave. Chen Xiang wanted to bully her, but he needed strength to do so. This beautiful female slave was much stronger than him. Hua Xiangyue was charming and beautiful, Dongfang Xinyue was gentle and lovely, and to have these two beautiful female slaves, Chen Xiang would definitely cause others to be jealous to death. But until now, only a few people knew about it. Meng'er, are you jealous? Dongfang Xinyue stuck out his tongue and laughed. No. Yeah, a little, but you're not his first female slave. There's another little demoness who's much stronger than you. Hua Xiangyue was not one bit inferior to this Dongfang Xinyue. Just when she wanted to find out more about her sister, that she had never seen before, the dry lake suddenly shook, and a loud sound of tidal waves could be heard. A large amount of water suddenly rushed out from an unknown place, and rushed towards the center from both sides of the lake. "Hurry up!" Lu Meng'er cried out in alarm as he and Dongfang Xinyue dragged each other and left the bottom of the lake at their fastest speed. Just as they ran away, a huge black hole suddenly appeared where they stood. The water that had always been plusing into the hole from both sides formed a whirlpool, spinning crazily. Standing on the surface of the lake, it looked like a giant beast was crazily devouring the lake. Fortunately, Lu Meng'er and Dongfang Xinyue were very fast. They were able to leave the bottom of the lake, and just as they heaved a sigh of relief, pieces of flaming stones suddenly fell from the sky, and every boulder was as big as a small mountain. The huge rock was burning with raging flames as it landed heavily on the ground. It exploded into a wave of scorching qi and waves of tremors. The rumbling sounds were incessant, as if the earth was roaring. "That dragon is right, this place is really dangerous. There are powerful formations everywhere," Dongfang Xinyue said as he frowned. He then waved his hand and shattered a gigantic meteorite that was falling down from above. Seeing those fragments falling like countless meteors, Chen Xiang felt that they were not an illusory magic array, but a genuine meteorite from another world. Lu Meng'er and Dongfang Xinyue pulled Chen Xiang and ran. If they continued to stay here, they would be killed by those unknown formations. These formations should all be from the Divine Book. I think that someone must have stayed here for a very long time and even learned to set up the formations on it. That's why there are so many strange and powerful formations here. Dongfang Xinyue looked behind him at the place that seemed to be filled with countless natural disasters. His heart still had a lingering fear. This was a world of array formations. When they saw the ruins, they heaved a sigh of relief. Although this place had a dragon, it was much safer than the terrifying place they had come from. Dongfang Xinyue took out a 2-story wooden chest, and placed the Divine Book on the top shelf. This was a copy she made, it could be quickly copied. "Meng'er, I originally wanted to give it to you." Dongfang Xinyue only wanted to enter a dungeon, and the many array formations inside were enough for her to learn for a very long time. Chen Xiang also wanted to learn, but he had a headache thinking about those countless spirit grain. Furthermore, with his young age, it was difficult for him to study these complicated things. Furthermore, his current strength was still very weak. It would be difficult for him to control the large array. "Sister Warm Moon, do you know what female slaves usually do for their masters?" Chen Xiang asked with a smile. "What do you want to do?" Dongfang Xinyue thought for a bit. Her beautiful face was at a loss, and she shook her head. "When I sleep, you have to warm my bed, you have to coax me to sleep. When I shower, you have to help me scrub my back. The best would be to bathe together with me." As Chen Xiang just finished speaking, he felt Lu Meng'er emit a burst of ice-cold aura, causing him to quiver. "This female slave is too strong. You can't control her. She is temporarily under my control. I will help you train her well," Lu Meng'er said with a serious face, making Chen Xiang secretly look down on her. Dongfang Xinyue laughed. "Yes, madam." Chen Xiang sighed in his heart. He felt that if he wanted to truly obtain the 2 beautiful female slaves, he had to first make Lu Meng'er submit to him. "Warm Moon, Xiangyue. Hee, it seems like you are born to be this young master's female slaves." Chen Xiang laughed lowly. "What? Hua Xiangyue is your female slave?" Dongfang Xinyue exclaimed. "Yeah, she's the same as you, she also has master-servant contract like me, but it's just that she's temporarily not under my control." Chen Xiang looked at Lu Meng'er in displeasure. "Didn't I worry that you guys would play with fire? With your little strength, you will definitely be tormented to death by a little demon like Hua Xiangyu." As Lu Meng'er said that, his face couldn't help but turn red, and his voice became much weaker. Those who train in innate qi, when men and women combine, they will unknowingly enter a strange state. No matter how head-on their innate qi is, when combined, it will always be perfectly compatible, but when the difference is huge, it will bring a great deal of harm to the weak. Chen Xiang looked at Dongfang Xinyue, and Dongfang Xinyue's jade face was also red. She nodded. This is real, you don't know? Chen Xiang shook his head. No one told me. Now you know, this is called dual cultivation. Lu Menger said in a low voice. Chen Xiang now understood why Lu Menger and Hua Xiangyu always tried to find an excuse not to let him eat them. Then why didn't Xian and I notice it when we were doing it? Chen Xiang asked again, causing the two girls' faces to turn red again. They had lived for so long, yet they had never enjoyed such a feeling. You and Xian, do you do it often? Lu Menger's blush had already spread all over her jade neck. It was indeed very embarrassing for her master to ask about this sort of thing about disciples. No, it was just one night, sigh. Chen Xiang sighed. It happened before you knew it, of course you wouldn't feel it, and it was only for one night. Lu Menger looked bashful as her voice became softer. Cough, cough, it's time to leave. Chen Xiang felt that the atmosphere was extremely awkward. He anxiously changed the topic, and shouted towards the forest. Old dragon friend, do you want to go out for some fresh air? Chen Xiang suddenly felt that this blue dragon was not bad. If he could befriend it, then he would have an even more powerful backer in the future. If I don't go out, the situation outside will be over. It's safer for me to hide here. The dragon had answered. Coward. Chen Xiang snorted. Humph, at least I'll live longer than idiots like you who aren't afraid of death. The dragon disdainfully said. Hurry up and K off. This is so noisy. They're all young people, yet they say such shameful things. How shameless! Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue had become even redder after hearing what the others had said, but Chen Xiang was fine. On the contrary, he was still indignant. Lu Menger and Dongfang Xinyue had become even redder after hearing what the others had said, but Chen Xiang was fine. On the contrary, he was still indignant. D.A.M. N, you dragons, don't you all have different surnames? You even have the right to criticize us. Chen Xiang's face was unconvinced, and shouted. Just because dragons like to mess around, demon beasts with dragon's blood gave Chen Xiang a bad impression. Don't compare me with those blee dragons. Dragons with low status like us are all very clean. The dragon was also unwilling to accept this. But I've evolved from snake to dragon. Although I've fully transformed into dragon, I'm different from those blee dragons. Long Shui was currently very angry. As a stately imperial dragon race, he was actually looked down upon by this kind of inferior dragon. The world of dragons was similar to the world of humans. They were divided into different ranks and despised each other. Little scoundrel, scolding him to death is so infuriating. Long Shui crazily roared from inside the Yuyao Yugong. Isn't it just that my luck is a bit better, that I can transform into a blue dragon? What's there to be arrogant about? Just wait for me to grow up, then I can smack him to death with a single claw. Chen Xiang laughed, spinning the circle on the Luotian gate, opening a spatial door. Old dragon, my name is Chen Xiang, I will come and play with you often. As Chen Xiang said that, he pulled the two women and walked into the spatial gate. As they disappeared, Chen Xiang heard the voice of the dragon. My name is Lan Tsang, next time don't bring a woman. After leaving the super old sacred land, they appeared in the forest filled with giant trees. The illusion formation here was still there, which meant that the people of the Dongfang family were also here. Hurry up and leave this D.A.M. Ned place. It seems like the treasures here will only attract people to play with their lives. Chen Xiang once again turned the Luotian gate, and just as the dimensional door opened, a strange transparent Qi suddenly attacked. The S.P.A.C. gate disappeared, and the surrounding S.P. was filled with all sorts of oppressive energy. This is the Warcraft. Long Shui suddenly shouted out anxiously with fear in his voice. This kind of thing grew up in those oppressive tunnels. It's very powerful and can even make chaotic. Now that all the mortal realm have fused together, the spatial tunnel has disappeared. The location where the Warcraft exist is becoming smaller and smaller, which is why they have appeared here. Following the start of the Great War between three realms, the has become more and more unstable, allowing these things the chance to come into the human world. Chen Xiang anxiously pulled the two girls. They were monsters that knew how to use spatial energy, and just as he was about to pull Lu Meng'er and Dongfang Xinyue, they suddenly disappeared. Elder Sister Meng'er, Sister Warm Moon. Chen Xiang anxiously roared, but his voice was resounding all around. Little naughty dragon, have you discovered where they are? Chen Xiang asked anxiously. No, but don't worry, they are still here. They were only screened by the Warcraft, which means that the Warcraft has to eat. It means that by seizing this it will be able to sense the stronger people in here and then separate them from the weaker ones. Long Shui said. And then? Eating. This made Chen Xiang even more anxious. Then, just wait for the Warcraft to be killed. This Warcraft is not very strong, otherwise it would not hide in fear. Lu Meng'er and Dongfang Xinyue are both very strong, you don't have to worry about them. At first, Chen Xiang did not understand why Long Shui made him worry about him, but he quickly received his answer, because he suddenly felt that the in front of him was Fting, and when he stopped, he saw that there were a lot of people around him with faces full of fear and confusion. You weaklings have been gathered here. If the Warcraft can successfully eat those powerhouses, you will become its snacks. Long Shui laughed tenderly. No wonder that stupid dragon didn't dare to come out. He actually knows that there are Warcraft outside. It could be because the Warcraft appeared that activated the super old Sacred Lands Array formation, causing the BLOODY Thunder Mountain Sea to be shrouded in a large array. This way, the Warcraft would have a hard time leaving the illusion array. Bai Yu said, "This is the weak point in SPAC. The one who set up the formation back then had thought everything through. Isn't that Chen Xiang?" Pairs of greedy eyes suddenly stared at Chen Xiang. This was a 10 billion spar, it was just like how they appeared in front of them. If they teamed up and killed Chen Xiang, they would split it among themselves. Dongfang Profoundlong's leg was previously broken by the death-haunting arrow, but now he had recovered. If he could kill Chen Xiang, he would have even more prestige in the Dongfang clan, which would help him improve his position in the Dongfang family. The people here were all from below Nirvana stage, and the people above Nirvana stage were all taken away by the Warcraft through teleportation. All of you, come at me one at a time. Chen Xiang was not afraid at all. Clenching his fists, his dragon power appeared and the ground trembled. The surrounding trees immediately cracked, and those who had thoughts were immediately terrified. They quickly gave up on the idea. Not only did they not go up, they backed off, and the place Chen Xiang was in became an empty area, with over 3,000 people surrounding him. To the people of the New World, there were not many of them, but most of them were pretty strong. Looking at the clothes these people were wearing, most of them were from influential powers, and they all came together. Most of them belonged to the Devil Subduing College and Fire Divine Palace, and most of them belonged to the Dongfang family. Seeing the terrifying dragon power on Chen Xiang's body, everyone whispered to each other. Everyone already knew about Chen Xiang cultivating the Taiji dragon suppressed Kung Fu. To be able to spread such a name in the mortal martial realm, He must be powerful. If he did not have any ability, it would be difficult to defeat Chen Xiang. Many people did not dare to take action, but there was still a small number of people who were ready to make a move. These people were all very confident in their own strength, and most of them were geniuses from large sections. That's disappointing. Let me do it. Although our sect is ranked second in this new world, our strength is definitely not just second. A man dressed in a luxurious golden attire slowly walked out from the crowd, holding a dazzling sword in his hand. This man was extremely handsome. He had a faint smile on his face, and his demeanor was refined and refined. The moment he appeared, a few women looked at him with adoration. The gold-armored sword sect is ranked second in the New World. It is very impressive with the sword, and the leader is also a very amazing refiner. It is said that he is stronger than Dongfang Xinyue. A person in the crowd exclaimed. Chapter 733 Whoever Bullies Who. Chapter 733 Whoever Bullies Who. Earlier, Chen Xiang had already chased away the third-ranked Thunder Heaven School. He did not expect to meet a sect ranked second. Lu Xianqing, their young master Dongfang, and the people from the number 1 sect are all here. How can you steal the limelight from others? Someone shouted. Lu Xianqing was the person from the Jin Hao Jian faction, so naturally, he had never heard of Lu Xianqing before. However, he knew that this name should be very resounding in the New World, and it was far inferior to his. Sure enough, when the crowd heard this name, they all cried out in alarm. It's that person who obtained the Jin Hao Jian faction's number 1 treasure sword. It is said that the golden greatsword in his hand was left behind by the ancestor of the Jin Hao Jian faction when she ascended through the Nirvana tribulation. It is in existence similar to an immortal weapon. If we were to auction it, it would at least be worth 8 or 9 billion spar. It wouldn't be difficult to raise it to 10 billion. This should be the first sword attack of this new world. Seeing that everyone was discussing about the gold-plated sword, Lu Xianqing had a face full of pride. He looked at Dongfang Xianlong from the Dongfang family and smiled slightly. Brother Dongfang, if you also want this 10 billion bounty, when you defeat me, I will give it to you. This Lu Xianqing spoke so casually, as if he could beat Chen Xiang. His expression of confidence did not make anyone sick. If they killed Chen Xiang, not only would they be able to obtain 10 billion spar, they would also be able to become famous throughout the world. Lu Xianqing slowly pulled out his sword, the sword body releasing a piercing cold light, a sharp killing intent accompanied with the sword body trembling in gusts. Plussing out, causing everyone to feel even more shocked by the top sword in the New World. This was a treasured sword that had been said down for many years, and had drank the blood of many strong warriors before, so the number of people who died under it would definitely be many. I am Lu Xian from Jin Hao Jian faction. Really? Who cares about your name? As Chen Xiang said that, he punched the air, the power of the fist gushed out, rust. Plussing towards Lu Xianqing, while the ground followed the force of the fist. With a crackling sound, it exploded, as though it was pierced by a dragon. Lu Xianqing was infuriated. He faced the incoming force and thrusted her sword, causing the sword qi on the tip of the sword to surge out. A powerful burst of golden innate qi poured into the gold hero sword, and on the sword's body that was radiating a cold light, it suddenly flashed with a gold light, and the innate qi released out from the sword became even more powerful. 1. The golden greatsword vibrated slightly. The melodious sound was so enchanting that it made people feel that it was even more precious than the golden greatsword. After Chen Xiang threw out his punch, he rushed up and rapped his fists with the body of the G.O.D. of slaughter. Deicide hand, whatever treasure sword and immortal sword they were all nothing in front of this white tiger divine weapon. The innate qi rushed into the deicide hand, causing Chen Xiang's claws to become even more powerful, as though he could grab onto and shatter everything in the world. Seeing Chen Xiang's hands suddenly filled with a fiendish aura, everyone could not help but feel chills down their spines. Although Lu Xianqing was shocked, he reacted very quickly. Hi+ing towards Chen Xiang, the sword left behind a gorgeous beam of golden light in the midst of the hurried killing intent. An aura even more powerful than the killing intent shooting out from the sword seemed to be able to cut through spac. This was Lu Xianqing's powerful sword strike, but it was not as powerful as everyone thought. This was because the longsword that was glowing with golden light had fallen into Chen Xiang's hands and was firmly held there by Chen Xiang. That unfathomable grab made it hard for everyone to understand. It was as if Chen Xiang's hand was born with an attraction and sucked Lu Xianqing's sword over, allowing him to grasp the timing and strength extremely accurately. The most shocking thing was that this number one treasure sword in this new world would actually be grabbed by someone else. Shame. This was the shame of the number one treasure sword in the new world, the shame of the Jin Hao Jian faction. Lu Xianqing was immediately enraged. His refined white face was filled with killing intent, the veins on his face bulged, making him look extremely sinister, because he knew that he had destroyed the sword's reputation. Just as everyone was feeling extremely shocked, Chen Xiang's big hand that was covered in white gloves suddenly flashed with a white light. The berserk draconic strength rushed out, and everyone seemed to be able to hear the roar of a dragon. Ding! A crisp sound rang through the air. Everyone was stunned, as if time had stopped. That golden sword had been broken. The number one sword in the entire new world was broken by Chen Xiang just like that, causing Lu Xianqing to be completely dumbstruck. This was the Jin Hao Jian faction's most valuable treasure, and it was only because he had extraordinary talent that he was awarded with the usage of it for 100 years. Although it was only the first level of devil subduing method, it was created using the draconic strength. With its might that could cover the entire sky, Chen Xiang, who was in a daze, was struck until he did not know his own direction, and his head was smashed into the ground. Sword Destroyer lost miserably, while Chen Xiang only revealed a few moves. Everyone originally thought that Lu Xianqing was just using his treasured sword to bully others, but now, in fact, Chen Xiang bullied others even more. After thinking about it, he felt that it was extremely cruel to use such a divine item to break someone's lifelike thing. However, he liked to deal with these people who wanted to take his head. My head is here, whoever wants it can take it. Chen Xiang held the broken golden greatsword in his hand and released a berserk draconic strength. Using the deicide hand, he twisted the sword into a ball and fiercely smashed it into the ground, creating a huge pit. When everyone saw Chen Xiang's pair of calm but murderous eyes, they could not help but Hi+ver. Take his head? Forget about his head, whether he could even touch her hair was one thing. Lu Xianqing's strength was probably strong enough, with the powerful treasured sword, but he was slapped by Chen Xiang until he was like a dog eating Hi+T, who would dare to go up against him. He was only waiting to see what would happen. He felt that he would have to wait until Chen Xiang had exhausted most of his energy before going up, otherwise, he would end up like Lu Xianqing. No one dared to duel one-on-one, but if more people joined hands, they might be able to win. 2 against 1, this was something that would be looked down upon. But now, no one looked down on those two, because Chen Xiang was too strong. He definitely wouldn't be able to beat him alone, but if it was 2, then maybe it would be possible. I thought that there would be a good opponent in this new world. I didn't expect that they would all be Tras. Plus, Chen Xiang snorted coldly. Within the 100 refinement realm, he indeed did not have many opponents. Great strength duo Xiong, great strength gate. Very quickly, someone recognized the two men. Giant strength gate, ranked 5th in the new world. Chen Xiang's Taiwu sect does not have a ranking, but he easily defeated the sect's second-ranked disciple. Was not afraid of the two of them fighting together, since he had the time now, he might as well train with it. Great strength sect, the moment they heard the name, they immediately knew that the people in the sect were cultivating a type of martial arts that allowed them to be extremely powerful. This great strength Duo Xiong's body looked to be stronger than most of the 100 Refining Realms warriors, and his physique was also outstanding. Unlike Lu Xianqing's, who was without the golden greatsword, his strength was greatly reduced. Great Strength Sect. The moment they heard the name, they immediately knew that the people in the sect were cultivating a type of martial arts that allowed them to be extremely powerful. This great strength Duo Xiong's body looked to be stronger than most of the 100 Refining Realms warriors, and his physique was also outstanding. Unlike Lu Xianqing's, who was without the golden greatsword, his strength was greatly reduced. You all want to attack together? Chen Xiang asked. The two big men gave him a sense of masculinity. He did not seem like the type of person who would take advantage of others. Of course not, one of the taller men said, and he put away his giant axe. I just don't want anyone to disrupt the fairness of the fight between us. I will make my junior brother look good, and not let others plot against him. He looked at Chen Xiang. How about we compete in terms of physical strength? Chen Xiang smiled slightly. In terms of physical strength, he felt that there were very few people in mortal realm that could beat him. I am from the Giant Strength sect. Baoli cupped his hands towards Chen Xiang. From the looks of it, he only wanted to exchange pointers with Chen Xiang and not take the bounty. When he was watching the battle between Chen Xiang and Chen Xiang, he realized that his body was strong, and thus his heart burned with fighting spirit. Let's fight! Chen Xiang kept the white tiger glove. The other party was a good person. He did not want to take advantage of them. Receive my attack. With a loud roar from Baoli, the thunderous roar shook the forest and caused all the birds in the forest to leap into the air. Looking at this berserk bull that looked like an angry bull running towards him, Chen Xiang praised in his heart. It was not easy to cultivate one's body to such an extent. Just the strength of his fleshly body was so strong, it made many young warriors, who mainly trained in innate qi, shocked. If it was said that only the strength of the fleshly body, other than Chen Xiang, no one else would dare compete with him. Baoli did not use the power of the innate qi, so his speed naturally decreased by a lot, but it was still quite impressive. When his iron fist struck down, it even made a sound like it was ting the air, which was very scary. As the fist struck towards Chen Xiang's chest, Chen Xiang didn't dodge or block it at all. He also struck back with his fist, the speed of his punch being slightly faster than Baoli's, to the point that when Baoli's fist had just touched Chen Xiang's clothes, fist had already struck his chest. With a dull boom, Chen Xiang's fist carried a strong force as it violently smashed into Baoli's large body that was like steel. Baoli let out a low snort and retreated a few steps, as blood involuntarily flowed out from the corner of his mouth. It was just a single punch, but without using innate qi, he managed to injure the tyrannical body. This caused everyone to be dumbstruck. Chen Xiang's body was actually also very strong. I've lost. When Baoli was speaking, he spat out a large mouthful of blood. He could tell that Chen Xiang had already shown mercy, otherwise, he would not be able to stand up now. Baoli was supported by his junior brother into the crowd. The strength that Chen Xiang had displayed was more and more shocking, and it was no wonder that he had the ability to kill Dongfang Yao. 10 billion spar, there are actually so many stupid pigs giving up for that king morals. A sinister voice came out, whoosh whoosh whoosh. A dozen or so skinny men in black robes and silver masks suddenly descended from the sky and surrounded Chen Xiang. Ghost Killing School, this is a sect that specializes in training cold-blooded sins and is ranked 9th in the New World's rankings. It is said that their names are all numbers, and no one knows the ident. 1. Tai of any of the disciples in Ghost Killing School. It is said that there are only 100 silver-masked ghost killer in the Ghost Killing School, and 10 of them are enough to kill a ranker who had just entered the Nirvana stage. The strongest in the ghost-killing school is the golden-face ghost killer, and the weakest is the tungsten-faced ghost killer. Shocked discussions sounded out from the crowd. Had heard of this ghost-killing school before, when he was wandering around Sky Emperor City. He had heard many people talking about it. This was an extremely outstanding assassination organization. The weakest was a wooden mask, then an iron mask. Chen Xiang was surrounded by 10 silver-faced ghost killers. As long as there were spars, these killers, regardless of whether they were women or children, would all attack viciously. There were many sins in the sins guild that had bottoms, but none in the ghost-killing school. As long as they had spars, they would kill everyone. What about Chen Xiang, who has 10 billion spars? Seeing Chen Xiang being surrounded by these 10 silver-faced ghost killer, everyone felt chills down their spines, because they did not realize that there was a ghost killer here earlier, and so many people did not notice their existence. The ghost killer was an sin with a strong concealment ability. If they were discovered, they were not worthy to be the silver-faced ghost killer. Very few people had seen the ghost killer take action, because those that they had seen were basically all dead, and now they had to do it in front of so many people? This caused many people to be afraid that the ghost killer would make a move on them after he killed Chen Xiang, even though there were thousands of people watching. A silver-faced ghost killer suddenly made a hand gesture, and 4 of them disappeared, leaving with an extremely fast speed, while the remaining 6 surrounded Chen Xiang, holding a very thin and long sharp needle. They pierced towards Chen Xiang. Whoosh! The 6 places that he had stabbed out were also extremely deadly. If he had been stabbed in one place, even if he didn't die, he would still be seriously injured. What was even more frightening was the poison smeared on all 6 of the needles. This was the first time Chen Xiang had encountered a group attack with such speed. No matter how fast he was, it was difficult to escape, and the innate qi in his body did not even have time to explode, as the 6 needles had already pierced towards him. When they saw that Chen Xiang was about to be pierced through to death by the needles, everyone broke out in a cold sweat. However, the 6 needles were disappointing, because they only pierced through his clothes and not his body. Chen Xiang was someone who possessed a divine tool like the profound wood diamond armor. If he was pierced by these 6 ordinary weapons, the person who created the profound wood diamond armor back then would have been killed. Therefore, Chen Xiang knew that even if he couldn't dodge it, nothing would happen to him. The silver-masked ghost killer was indeed strong, trained well, and had a tacit understanding with each other, making people tremble with fear upon seeing him. Everyone believed that if they were to be attacked like this, they would definitely die. Even though the 6 needles failed, the 4 silver-masked ghost killers that had just disappeared immediately appeared and continued to attack Chen Xiang's head with them. Their speed was extremely fast, and it only happened the instant after the 6 silver-masked ghost killers failed. Chen Xiang had long since prepared himself for the 4 silver-faced ghost killers who had disappeared just now. When the 4 long needles pierced towards his head, the 4 water vines became even faster, and just as the 4 long needles were about to touch Chen Xiang's hair, they caught up with the 4 silver-faced ghost killers, and with a fierce tug of the water vines, smashed the 4 silver-faced ghost killers to the ground. The 6 silver-faced ghost killers had already retreated away from Chen Xiang's attack range. Although 4 of their companions were grabbed by Chen Xiang, they did not have any intention to save him. The water ball exploded before it could even touch Chen Xiang, sending waves of water splosh. Hi+ing everywhere splosh. Hi+ing Chen Xiang's entire body. It's highly toxic. A person shouted in shock as he retreated a few steps. When the clear water fell onto the 4 silver-masked ghost killers' bodies that were entangled by water vines, the 4 silver-masked ghost killers suddenly let out heart-wrenching sounds, and then turned into a pool of blood. When the clear water fell onto the 4 silver-masked ghost killers' bodies that were entangled by water vines, the 4 silver-masked ghost killers suddenly let out heart-wrenching sounds, and then turned into a pool of blood. Upon contact, the surrounding trees immediately withered and died, and the fallen leaves were all black. Seeing that, everyone quickly distanced themselves from the place where the water ball exploded, worried that the poison would spread over from the air. Many of them held their breaths, releasing innate chi's barrier. They were worried that the silver-masked ghost killer would be killed. Not bad, you know how to use such a powerful poison. Chen Xiang wiped off the poison that was on his face. He looked like a chicken that had just been splashed with water. How did he look like someone who had been splashed with the poison? Everyone watched dumbstruck. They had personally witnessed the 4 silver-masked ghost killers on the ground being turned into a pool of blood by the poison, leaving behind only their silver mask. However, Chen Xiang was still unharmed. Their poison was actually useless against Chen Xiang, which was also what they relied on the most. Their innate chi might not be too strong, but they specialized in speed and poison, which was why their ghost-killing school had the most outstanding poison master, which was why their ghost-killing school had become so powerful. Just as they wanted to escape, they felt a chill run through their bodies. The water vines wrapped around their bodies, preventing them from moving. Chen Xiang's technique was still very useful, especially against those who were weaker than the tyrannical warriors. It was very deadly. As long as they were caught in it, it would be hard for them to escape. The 6 silver-masked ghost killer were hidden together by the water vines and then slowly dragged over. With a wave of Chen Xiang's hand, the poisonous water that fell to the ground a moment ago gathered together and gathered into Chen Xiang's palm. You guys are really ruthless. In order to achieve your goals, you don't even want your companions. The CLU's tur of poisonous water on Chen Xiang's palm miraculously floated around, causing the silver-masked ghost killers to tremble from head to toe when they saw it. Everyone could see that Chen Xiang was going to use the poison to kill the 6 silver-masked ghost killers. As expected, just as the 6 silver-masked ghost killers cried out for mercy, the poison had already exploded on top of their heads. Under the bindings of Chen Xiang's water vines, these 6 silver-masked ghost killer let out miserable howls, as their bodies were slowly corroded by the poison and turned into a pool of black blood. At the same time, they besieged Chen Xiang, making him look like a drowned chicken, but in the end, all that was left of his corpse and bones. Although Chen Xiang did not have that frightening silver mask on his face, his faint smile made people even more terrified. Young Master Dongfang, we meet again. The last time you stabbed your father in the back, it was really hard to forget. From the looks of it, you did it pretty well. Chen Xiang walked towards Dongfang Profoundlong with a smile. The matter of Dongfang Profoundlong tricking his father had long become a topic of discussion in this new world. Many people could tell that Dongfang Chaochuan had seized this opportunity to incite them, and in order to not be purged by Dongfang Lingyun, Dongfang Profoundlong did not hesitate to betray his father in order to become the clan chief in the future. Of course, there were other secrets as well. Last time, Chen Xiang had used his death-haunting arrow to secretly shoot at Dongfang Profoundlong's thigh, but Chen Xiang did not feel that it had caused any mental trauma for Dongfang Profoundlong, because he had used the role model Huang Jintian, this crazy old man, to scare him. In Dongfang Profoundlong's eyes, being ambushed by someone who was strong was something to be proud of. Right now, Chen Xiang wanted to make Dongfang Profoundlong feel guilty, and at the same time, wanted to make the Dongfang family to waste more pills to save Dongfang Profoundlong, because the Dongfang family's patriarch only had one bloodline that he could inherit. Chen Xiang felt that if he was lucky, the Dongfang family's bounty on him might even increase a little. Now that there were so many people watching, if young Master Dongfang got ravaged and Dongfang Lingyun didn't make a sound, he would definitely be underestimated. Chen Xiang, you killed my twin brother. Do you still want to kill me? Dongfang Profoundlong's face was ice cold, not the slightest bit of fear. A man like you, would you care about your dead brother? You even dare to poke at your father, what do you care about kins? Hi plus P? Chen Xiang laughed coldly. There were truly many guards by young Master Dongfang's side, and they were all powerful, more than 20 in total. Humph, to deal with a traitor, you have to be ruthless. Even if he is my father, as the successor of the Dongfang family, I will not let him off so easily. I will sell out my Dongfang family for my own personal gain. Dongfang Profoundlong's words were filled with righteousness and vigor, and it seemed that he really meant what he said. However, Chen Xiang did not believe it at all. Anyone who knew Dongfang Chaochuan in the slightest would know that Dongfang Chaochuan would definitely not sell the Dongfang family. It was entirely possible that it was Dongfang Lingyun and Dongfang Profoundlong. What a tough mouth, he. Chen Xiang suddenly laughed sinisterly. His soul-absorbing devil spell could make people speak the truth, but the problem was that he had to let go of young Master Dongfang's bodyguard first. Arrest him. Seeing Chen Xiang coming towards him step by step, Dongfang Profoundlong anxiously shouted, and the 20 bodyguards immediately ran towards Chen Xiang, waving their blades and swords, activating innate qi, starting to attack with all their might. Everyone could not help but admire the strength of the Dongfang family. That thick and violent innate qi made many people frightened. Tai Chi Dragon Formation. Chen Xiang's face sank. His hands started to dance wildly, and from beneath his feet, waves after waves of terrifying dragon power surged out, turning into many thin and long white dragons and black dragons, revolving around his feet and quickly swimming in 2 different directions. They formed into a 10 feet wide yin-yang taiji array, and started to quickly spin under his feet. The 20 people who were attacking suddenly increased in speed, but they were not under their control and flew towards Chen Xiang, the weapons in their hands flying out first, and after entering the Tai Chi Dragon Formation below Chen Xiang's feet, they were all twisted and damaged, some had even exploded. One must know that the power within the Tai Chi Dragon Formation was compressed by a large amount of dragon power. After being strengthened by the profound formation, it became extremely terrifying. It was a technique from the Taiji Dragon suppressed Kung Fu, but it consumed a lot of the innate qi and required a large amount of it to support it. When young Master Dongfang's 20 bodyguards saw the outcome of those weapons, they were overwhelmed with shock, but it was already too late. The innate qi in their bodies were affected by the strong suction force, causing chaos and violence, and he couldn't control them. After the 20 people were sucked into the Tai Chi Dragon Formation by Chen Xiang, their bodies immediately emitted a "G-G" sound of their bones shattering. Their bodies were similar to the swords and sabers, they were all broken and bent. Everyone decided in their hearts that when they saw it with their own eyes, they would become even stronger. In the future, when they saw Chen Xiang, they would definitely not show any hostility, or else they would be like the people inside the Tai Chi Dragon Formation. Everyone decided in their hearts that when they saw it with their own eyes, they would become even stronger. In the future, when they saw Chen Xiang, they would definitely not show any hostility, or else they would be like the people inside the Tai Chi Dragon Formation. In merely an instant, Chen Xiang used 30% of his innate qi. For someone like him, who had a thick innate qi, this was a huge consumption of his energy. The 20 elites of the Dongfang family were taken care of just like that. Their bones were almost all broken. Although they did not die, they suffered serious injuries. Dongfang Profoundlong originally wanted to run, but after seeing that all his bodyguards had been taken care of, he knew that he wouldn't have the chance to. It was only natural for Chen Xiang to attack Dongfang Profoundlong, who asked the Dongfang family to place a 10 billion bounty on Chen Xiang. And now that Chen Xiang had such a good opportunity to deal with him, he would definitely not be lenient. Dongfang Profoundlong was a little afraid in his heart, but he could not let his reputation lose here. He took out a sharp sword and saw that it was actually a pretty good grade treasure. "You didn't run away, that's really out of my expectations." Chen Xiang sneered as he walked over. Now that there were so many people watching, he definitely had to make this Dongfang Profound Long spew out the matter of him cheating his father and son. Our Dongfang family issued a bounty. We never thought of doing it ourselves, so as to not let others say that our Dongfang family didn't pay the price, but now you're the one who forced me to do it. Today let's call it quits. Dongfang Profound Long had a very confident look on his face, as if he could pierce through Chen Xiang's throat with his sword. That sounds good, but I'm not your father, so don't think about stabbing me in the back. Chen Xiang laughed heartily. Of course, even if you recognize me as your father, I won't take you in, lest I get cheated by you. Dongfang Profound Long suddenly laughed out loud. Chen Xiang, you are truly arrogant. The fact that my Dongfang family can stand on this new world and become the #1 clan, the strongest power, this is not a coincidence. Don't think that just because you learned a powerful mystical technique, you think that you can be so arrogant. Don't look down on me. As the strongest member of the Dongfang family, for the glory of the family, even if I have to sacrifice my life, I will not lose. I am not afraid of death. The honor of the family is more important than my life, and when my father betrayed the family, I had to endure excruciating pain to kill him. Chen Xiang, you have insulted my family many times, but today, I will use your blood to wash away all of this. His words were full of arrogance, causing others to silently admire him, but Chen Xiang knew that what he said was all nonsense. Chen Xiang suddenly flashed. His speed was extremely fast. Dongfang Profound Long only saw a shadow flash by, followed by a burning pain on his face. Everyone originally had a little admiration for Dongfang Profound Long. They were just planning to see how he would fight with Chen Xiang, but who knew that the self-confident Dongfang Profound Long would actually be ruthlessly slapped in the face by Chen Xiang. Dongfang Profound Long's glorious image in the hearts of everyone suddenly plummeted. Is this young Master Dongfang? How is this possible? To have one of his teeth knocked out with a single slap, wasn't that a little too weak? Chen Xiang, you shameless, you dare to plot against me. Dongfang Profound Long looked at the teeth on the ground, which were lying on a pool of blood, and felt incomparable rage. Originally, he had a lot of words to say to enrich his image, but Chen Xiang didn't let him say anything. Chen Xiang had to admit that this Dongfang Profound Long's mouth was indeed quite sharp. His ability to fool and act was top-notch. If he hadn't personally witnessed Dongfang Profound Long sneakily attacking his father from behind, he would definitely have been fooled as well. Who asked you to speak so much nonsense? Chen Xiang coldly snorted. Don't you know that when you're facing your enemies, you can't slack in the slightest? I, Dongfang Profound Long, have always competed fairly with others, and only a despicable, shameless and despicable person like you would do such a thing. Dongfang Profound Long surprisingly wiped away the blood from the corner of his mouth with an extremely calm and collected expression. Chen Xiang suddenly felt that the little fool Dongfang Jing was most likely being duped by her big brother. Chen Xiang, look at the sword! Dongfang Profound Long shouted loudly. When competing with others, letting them see his moves was indeed a very upright action. Of course, Dongfang Profound Long was not a fool like that. He was first to stab the sword and then shout, and his sword was much faster than his mouth. When he stabbed forward, his voice had just reached everyone's ears, but it seemed like he was really reminding Chen Xiang. Just as he was about to use the profound gang finger to break the sword tip, he suddenly felt a resistance. One must know that he was wearing a white tiger gloves on his body right now, and with the power of the Slaughter God's hand, even if he did not use the dragon power, he could still break all of those powerful treasures easily. However, this sword did not exist. He realized that the quality of this sword was far better than the one he had twisted into a ball. Dongfang Profound Long's forehead started to perspire. He did not expect Chen Xiang's fingers to be so powerful, grabbing onto the sword tip, preventing him from pulling it out. Humph! Chen Xiang suddenly grabbed onto the sword blade, slipped, and directly slid onto the sword hilt, releasing a strong burst of energy, producing a huge impact. Chen Xiang directly grabbed onto the sword and used the sword hilt to ruthlessly stab Dongfang Profoundlong, and then seized the sword. This is something that Dongfang Xinyue refined. The quality is not bad, it is much better than that Bulsh *TTY golden greatsword. Chen Xiang looked at this sword. Dongfang Xinyue had indeed given a lot for the Dongfang family and had expended a lot of effort to refine weapons for their families. However, in the end, he had the reputation of a traitor to his family. After he kept his sword, Dongfang Profoundlong suddenly attacked ferociously. His fists were extremely powerful, the innate chi roared, and when he punched over, it was like a roaring lion, heavily SMAs. Hi+ing onto Chen Xiang's face. Dongfang Profoundlong was secretly happy. Just as he revealed a surprised look on his face, it immediately disappeared, because not only did Chen Xiang not lose his teeth and vomit blood, he did not even turn his head. I'm not like you. I'm not someone who would be casually ambushed by others. Chen Xiang laughed sinisterly. The innate chi on his fist turned into a white tiger head filled with killing intent, letting out a terrifying roar. It smashed towards Dongfang Profoundlong's face. Ah! Dongfang Profoundlong let out a blood-curdling scream. Chen Xiang's fast and fierce white tiger G.O.D. fist smashed into Dongfang Profoundlong's nose, SMAs. Hi+ing his nose down, causing blood to flow out.